Damn it.
This is on the internet now.
Well, damn it.
With my mouth full of French fries.
Well, I mean, I wanted to put on pants first, but I guess now we can't do that anymore. So it is what it is at this point. Oh man. So now,
just so everybody knows, I don't change this hoodie ever.
That's fair. I mean, why? It's comfortable, right?
Yeah, it's massive too. It's so big. Like, dude, it's crazy how big this is. The bottom. I'm just pulling it from like my knees.
I feel like I just.
It's also got like a kangaroo pouch.
Okay.
With like everything, like best hoodie in the world.
No, I mean, listen. If it makes you feel comfortable and good in your skin that you're in, then that's what's really important.
No, it's that you can't wear a lot of hoodies during the summer.
Is it summertime yet though? It's still
in Jersey. In Jersey, it's been 84 degrees.
84? I'm a little jelly. Actually, I don't even know if I want to go to 84 degrees yet, though. That's a little steep. It's a little steep for this time of the year. May 3rd. Actually, that's not even entirely true. It should probably be about that warm, but it's only been about, we're in the morning now, it's about 45 degrees in the morning, and then it gets up to like 65. It's very confusing for how we have to dress our children. It's like, okay, do we put short sleeve shirt and then your jacket still, your winter jacket, but then know that you're gonna, by the time I see you, you're gonna have it tied to your bag, or you're not gonna have it on. That's you. It's very difficult to try to gauge this, because and then there's also the sicknesses that people get after that because the weather is shifting so damn much. But that's enough, I guess, on the weather aspect of it. So what are we talking about? X-Men 97? Is that what we're doing? We're talking about X-Men 97. Episode 8 was amazing. I don't understand how they keep on doing this, bro. Like it's literally every time I'm like, yeah, okay, they're not gonna top this episode, and then they top this episode. I don't understand. For all the things that I said about them ditching Wolverine or kind of leaving him as a support character, they gave him a dope ass fighting scene. A dope ass fighting scene in episode 8. One of the best animated fight scenes that I've seen in a while. I wouldn't say the best ever, but one of the best ones that I've seen in a little bit here. There's been a few that I can rattle off my head. I like for Invincible season 2 in episode 4, the fight scene between him and the other Viltrumites. I was like, that's a pretty good fight scene. That's a pretty good fight scene. This one was better than that one. So that's where I'll start off. What were your thoughts on episode 8?
I put the title of this video.
Are we live? I still don't see us.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, okay. When am I going to get the notification? All right, proceed. I don't mean to interrupt. But also, that's going to happen often throughout.
The title of this video is that X-Men 97 is embarrassing MCU writers.
You had to come for their throats like that, my guy. You had to come for their throats like that. However, please proceed.
Take my French fry, dip it in my barbecue sauce.
I was going to ask you what type of sauce it was. Thank you for you volunteering that information before I had to ask it.
Whenever I go to Wendy's and they ask me what kind of sauce I want, I always respond with the exact same thing. Fuck me up, fam. And sometimes I'll get someone who's under the age of 30 and they're like, heard. And they'll just throw whatever they want in there. Sometimes it's their kicking spicy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 45 buffalo sauces.
Okay.
But if they're over the age of 30, which is like, it's weird, fast food places. We're going to take a segue on this one. It's weird how fast food places have like a very strange, it's like, if you are under 20, you are most likely working the register or the to-go.
Okay.
And if you're over 20 and under 30, you're most likely a manager. Somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're somehow older than 60, you go back to what the 15 and 18-year-olds are doing.
So it's the circle of life, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So there are times when I'll go to a Wendy's.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you nailed it. There are times when I go to Wendy's and I'll say, fuck me up, fam. And I will hear the pause. And I'll be like, am I supposed to apologize here? I'm not going to, but I feel like I'm supposed to. And then I'll show up and it's Methuselah. You know, it's the guy from the old Six Flags commercials. And that old dude. And he's like, I didn't know what sauce you wanted, so I gave you ranch. And I was like, that will fuck me up. You nailed it, right?
Perfect selection.
Yeah. Whatever.
The option that no one normally selects. Yes.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Yeah,
ranch belongs exclusively on like bland salad. That is the purpose of ranch dressing. If you were just like, what is it? It's iceberg lettuce. It's iceberg lettuce with carrots. Like, put some ranch on it. This way I can imagine what flavor is. That's where ranch belongs. It also, technically, if you don't have blue cheese, it's fine for hot wings. It's like, if you don't have blue cheese,
yeah, it's
you can use ranch.
Blue cheese if you
yeah.
Go that way. Yeah.
That said, sriracha ranch, well, that's something different. That's something different. That's on something. Because anything with sriracha is better.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. I don't like spice. So even like a little sriracha, I'm like, not really my forte. And I know you're probably like, a Jamaican man who doesn't like spice. First of all, stop stereotyping me, okay? Stop it.
First of all, I am going to stereotype. No, I'm stereotyping you.
No.
I told you about.
Okay.
I told you about the Rasta pasta I had the other day, right?
You didn't tell me about it, so go ahead.
Okay, so Rasta Pasta is this place in Newark, New Jersey, and it's a jerk chicken place. But
I'm gonna explain that to you in a second. But go ahead.
But what they do is they make homemade pasta. But during the making of it process, they put all of the jerk spices in it. So it is the pasta spicier than the chicken. It is insanely good. Yeah. Especially if you go up and get like oxtail too. Oh man.
Oh my God. No, stop. So here's the thing. I don't like spice in general because I just it's just not my thing. However, some jerk chicken, some jerk pork. I don't know what it is. It's just not spicy. It's sure, it can be spicy, but it doesn't feel the same.
It's the difference between hot spicy and flavor spicy. Yeah, and that's something a lot of people don't get. A lot of people are like, same thing with like Indian food. Like, there's 3 different kinds of Indian food spicy. There's spicy. And then there's spicy.
Right.
And then there's this is not to be eaten. This is not to be eaten. Like, when I was working at a school, we used to constantly order from an Indian place that was nearby. And I was like a little bit bolder in my youth, and I was like, whatever the hottest curry they got. And you can always tell when it's a color that you don't expect. Like for me, I've seen red and brown curry. I've even seen green curry, which is now the hottest I'll go. This was like just straight white. I was like, what? So I was like, okay. And not only was it the hottest thing I've ever eaten, but I spilled a drop on my desk, and my desk had a burn on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was so hot it corroded my wooden desk.
No. Dude,
and I was like, I can't eat this ever again. My intestinal lining is, and then I'd shit for like 4 hours.
I was gonna say, like, what was the Bastion
also
run
delicious, delicious. Not gonna pretend it was so good. Never again though.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. So all of that was because I needed to take a bite, and I needed to take a bite because they followed the dumbest formula in the history of following formulas. And it's almost ridiculous how easy it is to produce this type of content. Here's what you do. You read the decades of content, not all of it.
What?
You read the decades of existing content, and then you key in on something that you like. And from that point, you could do one of three things. The best case scenario, which this falls just shy of, but the best case scenario is where you take the decades of content and you understand it at its core. Like, why is this? And you update it. And I don't mean update by changing and making different characters different things because it makes more sense to a different audience. I mean, you say, which will make this story matter now that it might not have then. Some stories are timeless. Some stories are like Schindler's List is always going to be a story that makes sense because it, you know, there hasn't been that type of, thank God, that type of event since.
Right.
Right? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's the best case scenario. You take what existed, the Oppenheimer movie. It was a historical document.
Right. Yeah.
It happened. So instead, let's make some changes that make it cinema, that make it something, a story that already
for an audience, right?
Yeah, it already is great to be told, but now you're adding it. It's the difference between inspired by and based on.
Yeah.
If it says based on true events, it means we're gonna lie a little bit. If it says inspired by, it's like the names will be right.
Yeah. And that's
the best.
Yeah, and they haven't really hit the nail on the head where that's concerned, but it's been. And you're gonna explain the second one, so let me not cut you off. Go ahead.
The second one, coming up, I don't care. The second one is what they're doing here, which is we're gonna take the stories and we're gonna tell them, keeping all of the parts that matter, but we're gonna tell them in this medium because it is a different medium. We can do 10 episodes on the Phoenix Saga. But I don't know if you know this, a comic book isn't a 30-minute thing.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's hard to animate 30 minutes.
6 issues. I mean, how long does it take for you to read one issue, right, of a comic? I mean, it's 30 minutes.
It takes you about, to read an issue of a comic, it takes you anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, right?
Well,
depending
I
on the
30
comic.
minutes because I'm somebody that likes to go back and I go back to that page because then I get to this page.
But that's not
like,
reading it.
But that's me though, right? That's like if you're just reading the comic, yes, it might take you 10 to 15 minutes.
Comics are only about 25 pages. They're like 40 pages long, 30 pages long. But there's ads, there's sometimes there's just panels of art that you want to take in because it's beautiful art. Yeah. Animation's a little different. And movies are even more different.
Movies are very different, yep.
Like live action, we'll say. What this show has done is say, I am familiar with 3 things. X-Men 92. The X-Men stories.
Yep.
And why the people like the X-Men.
Yeah.
Not the people now. Not the people now who are like, Cyclops is a Boy Scout, meow, 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 which is what they all sound like to me. The people who made it a piece of
fair,
material.
Though, they made him a Boy Scout in the movies. That was
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not their fault, but there's a difference between the people that know what everybody knows. Peter Parker's Uncle Ben died. Wolverine has claws and can't die. Iron Man is an out. There are people that don't know Iron Man's an alcoholic. Like that's a thing, right?
They only showcased it a little
bit. But the reason Iron Man, the reason Spider-Man, the reason Batman was made, the Tim Burton Batman movie, which was arguably the first superhero movie that worked. There has been other attempts, but this is the first one that had mainstream success.
Yeah. Which is the reason why people love Keaton.
It exists because there are people, and there was hard work, and there was discipline, and there was dedication for decades prior to a character, to storytelling, to sales. Right?
Right.
That's what this is doing. This is what the X-Men are about. This is what these characters are about. This is the general storyline that we're going to follow. But we are going to make some changes because there's no reason to retell a story. Right. But there are reasons to reimagine the story. And that's fine. And then we have the third option, which I could say real quickly. The third option is where you say, you know what? She-Hulk.
I thought you were going to go with Secret Invasion, but okay, She-Hulk is
She-Hulk is a character in the Marvel Universe. Let's go as far away, like playing tag in like grammar school with the kids that would like step off but like leave their foot on the base, and you'd get them be like, nah, my foot's on the base. Be like, my guy. Or like they'd get a stick and touch the base with the stick, and now you're arguing with an idiot whether they're in or out. That's what She-Hulk was. That's what actually most, if not all, of that, because most of it.
Phase
to be fair.
4, phase 4 actually wasn't that bad. A lot of phase 5 probably has been that way, and
phase 5 is only Ant-Man and Loki.
Okay, so phase 4 then. I stand corrected. I guess I was trying to give phase 4 a little bit of a break here.
No, phase 4 is all dog shit.
Yeah, phase 4 is what it is. So, and like you said, to your point, X-Men 97 is not retelling the story exactly the same way. They've made some twists. They've made some twists and some changes with the Storm story. They've done a little bit here with Inferno, right? I mean, we saw what they did with Madeline Pryor. That wasn't the exact same way that it was written in the comics. And yes, some of us may have enjoyed the comic. There's no one that I've talked to that said, hey, the Madeline Pryor that we got in X-Men 97 was trash. It was just more of, man, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from her, but it wasn't like, oh, this was dog crap. It was more of, no, I actually really enjoyed it. I would like to actually see a little bit more of what they could do. So they're doing a really good job of touching these stories, giving you enough of a backstory, giving you sucking you into the character and the emotion behind that character, and then like I said, shedding light on it, but then progressing the story along. Because ultimately what they did was, hey, let's shine light on some of these lesser explored characters that we haven't done over the past 20 years. Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey. They've done so much of that. And then now they're like, okay, well, at this point now, we got to get back to the full story. And that's what they're doing now in episodes 8. And I believe that they're going to continue to do that in 9 and 10. But they're doing it in a way where they're still honoring the original stories. They're not, because you cannot follow it exactly. Because for me personally, if you follow the exact comic line story and brought it to the screen, I'm a little bored because I'm like, oh, I already seen that story already. I want you to see you morph that story a little bit and put your little own spin on it, but then still adhere to the source material a little bit. You can still honor the source, but not do it exactly like the source.
If you watch X-Men 97, and this is the first time you're watching X-Men 97, you're going to be like, I should watch the old episodes of X-Men. If you watch the Madeline Pryor arc, and you're like, yo, that was crazy, and you talk to me, and I go, my guy, if you want, you could read Inferno. It's quick, and it's a crazy story, and you'll read it in like a day.
It's a fun story, yeah.
And it's crazy, and it's wild. What this show does that has failed every single show they have ever released has failed. Every show has failed this. But what this show does is it makes you as the viewer interested in their back catalog.
Yeah.
Goofy, what do I always tell you about YouTube videos?
Always got a back catalog.
Evergreen.
So when people come,
always have a back catalog.
Yeah.
This show has done more for Marvel in terms of increasing sales, driving interest. This show might single-handedly be the reason to subscribe to Disney Plus if you aren't for like whatever. Like,
because if you didn't watch the previous 92, the 90s version of it, the earlier 90s version of it, now you're like, oh, there's tie-ins to the previous show. I gotta go watch that now. And of course,
you can draw connections.
Yeah, exactly.
Cable. It's so hard to think about. But Cable, this moment in Cable, which we are going to talk about, probably right now because I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you might as well dive into it.
Cable, this episode was insane.
Bananas, bro.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. Yeah. It was psychotic.
Yeah, it was.
Because for an average viewer, they're like, wow, a lot of stuff's going on. For a longtime viewer, not even comic book reader, for viewer, if you went back and you watched, wait, what?
Right.
And for longtime readers, even people like me, the snobbiest of actually nerds, we're like, yo, they could go so... I'm not even convinced we know who the big bad is yet. That's how insane this episode is.
It's crazy. Because I almost feel like because Bastion is just out there, I'm like, you can't be the one controlling all of this. No possible freaking way. Especially if you see the very end of the episode where Magneto was just like, just going to remind you that I am Omega level. I just want to step in here and just remind you that I am an Omega level mutant.
We should wait.
Here's my power.
We should wait on that because there's stuff that happens at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, it's fair.
So I have this screen up, right? The screenshot, which is infinite information chucked into one.
Right.
And this is also the scene where Beast...
There's connections to the comics, there's connections to the MCU.
Yeah, there's the evolution of the Omega Sentinel into Nimrod, which this episode confirmed that Nimrod entered into a dude, and that dude, instead of like the magic, they got punched through a portal and became a new person, different in time. No, this was surprisingly a better storyline. Like, this is better than the comic.
What's interesting is that, like, there was actually like two different Nimrods, right? There was like the first one that we saw. That's not the Nimrod that goes into the other guy. It's actually the second Nimrod that ends up going. So like, you have to, once again, it's giving you homework to go back and look into it, but it's like fun homework to go back and look into it.
It's not homework like, oh, I gotta watch 40 episodes of this show in order to get what's going on in the movie. No, it's like, ooh, there's more information about this.
Right.
And that is what they failed at. At watching Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Excuse me. By the end of that movie, and I've watched that movie several times with different people, of different, like, super casual to super hardcore, nobody was like, I should rewatch WandaVision. Or I should go, like, watch, because at the end of it, Wanda's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, quote unquote, she's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. Well, then I guess it doesn't matter why she's bad. She's dead now.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's this girl? We don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
wait, what has Doctor Strange been up to? Literally nothing since Endgame.
Nothing. Yeah. They showed you that in the very beginning. He's just been wallowing in whatever. It's not even self-pity. It is himself.
And I dare say, and I'm speaking a year in advance, but you can come back to this video, this podcast, and look at it. I dare say Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in retrospect, are going to be irrelevant to what happens in Brave New World. At the end,
I'm almost convinced that they're doing it on purpose too.
At the end of Endgame, Sam got the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier, Bucky was he was snapped away, but he had just come from being healed in Wakanda. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
At the beginning of Captain America, we were introduced to a bad guy series that doesn't matter, and Sam gave away the shield that he was given by Captain America.
Right.
And by the end of it, he got the shield, was Captain America, and two new characters were introduced. Val Cooper and not Val Cooper, sorry, that's from X-Men.
Yeah. You're talking about the dude who's Falcon now, who's gonna be Falcon, right? That's what he's talking about.
You think they're not going to give a conversation about that at the beginning of the movie? Do you think they're not going to recap all of these new characters that people aren't going to recognize? Because people are going to go back and... First of all, he wasn't Falcon in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. He was some guy. He was a kid. Dude. Yeah, he was a kid.
That was and then the same thing with tech. Okay.
The same thing with Thunderbolts. You think that they're not going to have...
I thought Falcon knew how to use his tech himself. Like, why did he need a tech guy? But whatever. We'll leave it.
It gets even funnier. The bad guy, Kurt Russell's son. I don't remember his name in the U.S. agent.
Yeah, once again, you can move on.
Okay, you think they're not going to one line of dialogue him in Brave New World in Thunderbolts? You think they're not just going to be like, yeah, he's taken over the shield. He's not quite Captain America. He's our own U.S. agent. One line of dialogue, the only piece of information. If you want to go back and watch Captain and Winter Soldier, you can, but don't, because there's no separation. Like, if you never watch that, it is the same as if you watch that, except you got to see characters that already were introduced, but not really. Like, they were introduced.
You said there were two new characters in my... so you're talking about U.S. Agent and the new Falcon.
Oh, no, I'm talking about that.
I guess I can't say the new Falcon. Oh, you mean Contessa.
Yeah, the Madam Hydra. Madam Hydra. But also, she was introduced in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that was that after? It was
after.
It was after. Okay. Yeah, it was after. Yeah, so... once again, I chalk that up to just like bad storytelling in general too, because what you talked about was he relinquished the shield in the beginning. That was dumb, because I would have preferred an arc of him trying to figure out how to be the shield or to represent the shield. I would have preferred that. What the hell we gotta?
I would have preferred him losing the shield.
Oh, like him just straight up like losing the shield, not giving it away, but him losing the shield.
Like somebody...
That wouldn't have been bad either, yeah.
I also would have been, because it's technically property of the U.S. government, I would have been happier if instead of him being like, I don't want it, I'm going to turn it in, if he's there at the memorial and he's pissed because the only way they were going to un-war crime his war crimes from when he was a terrorist. Mm-hmm. He was, yeah. He was a terrorist. We all don't talk about that.
He was an enemy of the state. Yep.
He was a terrorist. he was by definition exactly what you would call a terrorist. It's almost like being a terrorist isn't inherently a bad thing.
Vision. Vision wasn't a part of it. It was Wanda. Wanda was a part of it.
Wanda, Cap, Black Widow, Falcon.
Black Widow. Mm-hmm.
And that was it. It was just those three.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Rhodey or not Rhodey, I don't know.
Rhodey was doing whatever. Also, was that Rhodey? We don't know. Do you know why we don't know? Do you know why? Because stupid. Because stupid dumb. Because bad writing.
I heard they kind of retconned it because it's like a deleted scene that's out there. I haven't watched the deleted scene, so y'all will have to fill me in.
Didn't he ask where's Tony at the end of that episode?
The Secret Invasion one? I don't remember him. I don't remember him saying any words.
As he was being, I'm not going to rewatch it. So,
I mean, I wouldn't recommend.
Get in the comments. No.
Don't eat away your brain cells, bro, by watching that crap again. Don't do it.
I think when he was being carried out, because he was like, I think he said, "Where's Tony?" Or maybe I'm just imagining that, which is very possible. But like that show was so bad. That show was so bad that if I wrote an essay on why that show was bad, it would be longer than that show. It would take me longer to explain every flaw in that show.
I've erased it out of my memory, to be honest with you.
Than it would to rewatch that series.
I erased it out of my memory.
It is the worst thing they've ever done.
The only
She-Hulk was a better show than Secret Invasion.
It was.
She-Hulk was a better show because She-Hulk had a lot of high points. Mm-hmm. Secret Invasion had no high points.
She-Hulk at least made me laugh. And that means a lot.
People got laid.
Yeah, it was right. People got laid. People got screwed. Apart from being laid,
they got laid and screwed.
It was funny. It was honestly, She-Hulk may not be that bad for me if it wasn't for the finale. Like it may not be the second worst TV show that they've made for me if it wasn't for the finale. If the finale was better, it may only be the fourth worst show that.
So for those who don't know, when I did my old podcast on Marvel, it was known, it was a quantity that I was not watching She-Hulk because I watched the trailer and I said, I don't know if you know this about me, She-Hulk's. I have a lot of characters that stand out, and none of them are popular. Like I love, with the exception of Doctor Doom, who everyone knows is my favorite character.
Yes, you guy. Yep.
Like, I love certain characters. I love almost all of the Hulk villains. Damn near all of Zax, which is just an electric being, leader.
I mean, leader is fun.
Doc Samson, who's a hero villain, whatever.
Yeah.
I watched the ending of She-Hulk first. That was the first episode I watched.
You watched the last episode.
I watched the last episode first because I promised I would on the podcast. And I went, oh, this entire thing is dumb for the sake of being dumb.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So then I went back and watched episodes 1 through 7 with the knowledge that this show was going to be dumb. And you know me, I love a dumb thing. If it's stupid for the sake of being stupid,
yeah.
Like I've said before, my favorite movie of all time, aside from every Nicolas Cage film ever made, is Big Trouble in Little China.
No bias.
Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China. And if you tell me that you also love Big Trouble in Little China because it was hilarious or it was silly or it was ridiculous, I'd be like, of course. But if you ever tried to tell me, I have a Lopan statue right fucking there. If you ever try to tell me that's a good movie, I will question your ability to understand what words mean. Yeah, someone in chat just said, I love The Room. The Room. Oh, Big Trouble in Little China? You gotta watch it.
I've never watched it.
That movie is...
You already gave me homework, bro. I'm still trying to get through the rest of One Punch Man right now, okay? So, listen, I'm working on that. Then we'll circle back around to to what
Big
that
Trouble
movie
in
is.
Little China is like a fever dream where everything that happens is the answer to the question, there's no way this could happen, right? And then it happens.
And then it happens.
There's a scene, listen, there's so many scenes in this movie. There's a scene directly in the middle where you just know that the writer's room was like, do you think we're talking a little bit, because this is like an 80s movie, you think we're talking a little bit too much about China? Because that was it. So they're like, yeah, let's just have one of the main Chinese characters say the most ridiculous line, and I'll never fucking forget this line. This line's gonna be on my fucking tombstone. They're in the middle they're about to go into a battle.
Uh-huh.
They're about to enter a battle against mystic Chinese forces.
Yeah.
And the Chinese American, that's very important because there's a Chinese guy who's from China, but he's on a visa. Don't worry about it. It's explained. The Chinese guy, in the middle of them talking about how, like, we're going to win, he raises his glass and goes, to the Army and Navy and the battles they have won, to the red, white, and blue colors that never run. And I was like, what? That was the most jingoistic American thing I've heard in this movie that up to this point has been about magical Chinese bullshit. That movie is insane. It is not good, but it is great, and you have to understand why.
It's not good.
If it's good, it follows a formula. A good story is a story that is paced well, explains, and sometimes there's thrillers and different types of stories, but it's paced well, you can follow it, and the most important rule of any movie, any book, or any TV show that I have, you can have a different rule, this is up to you, is if I have lost track of the fact that I am currently watching or taking in this content, it is phenomenal content.
That's fair.
If I'm in a movie theater and I am completely engaged in what's happening, I'm like, yo.
And you know,
there's a reason.
Crazy?
Good.
Now, to shifting it back to Marvel, just for a second. I'm trying to remind myself of which sort of project has felt that way for me. You know, and there's been nothing other than No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. There's been in a little bit of Loki, because Loki season 2 was good, and I do think that it's better than Loki season 1 for a few different reasons. Although there are individual episodes in the first season that I like significantly better than some of the episodes in season 2, but that's we're talking about semantics or whatever, right? Loki season 2 was very good. But if I'm just talking about, I'm not including shows. I'm talking about movies. Let's talk about specifically movies. Those are the only two ones where I was just like, oh, I'm genuinely enjoying this and I don't want it to end. And then when it ended, I was like, oh my gosh, I want more. And it's only been 2 of them. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and
Shang-Chi had me. So, Shang-Chi had me. There was one point when I was like, wait, what? In the entirety of Shang-Chi, and it was when it went from the story of Shang-Chi to now there's a demon. That was where I was like, why is there why? I didn't care that we went to the Mystic World. It's just like this weird hidden bad guy that I was like, wait, why are we doing this?
It's like a low-key multiversal event in the MCU. It's like a low-key one. But no, so I'll be honest with you, Shang-Chi, and to be fair, I've probably watched that movie more than any phase 4, right? That's the most phase 4. That's the movie that I've watched the most in phase 4. That's primarily though because of my daughter. My daughter loves Shang-Chi. Absolutely loves Shang-Chi. And there have been some TV shows that I really like too. Like Hawkeye is one of my favorite TV shows.
Hawkeye,
I love Hawkeye.
What If, and Moon Knight were the shows.
Moon Knight. Oh.
If you tell me you didn't like Moon Knight, you didn't watch fucking Moon Knight.
That was Moon Knight, so good. Wow. Now that one was good.
It says it's 6 episodes, and that was my only criticism of Moon Knight, is it was 4 episodes that they stretched into 6. Because that was a perfect 4 episodes. If the middle, like episode 4 and 5 were like,
they were kind of, it was one story, and it was one entire story in just 2 episodes is what they did with it. But I also understood why they kind of cut it off though, because they did need to explore that, because that was like the episode where they were in that, what I forgot what her name was, the little, what was she, like a hippo? Was it a hippo? What did she look like? What type of animal was that? I forgot what that was. But when they kind of went to like a version of the ancestral plane, that was like their version of the ancestral plane is kind of like where they went. That was kind of like, that was like 2 episodes. That was 1 episode in like 2 different spread out. But I actually appreciated them spreading it out because there was a lot of information to take in, bro. Like if you were paying attention to each individual line and like exactly what she was talking about, it was a lot to take in just 1 episode. So I actually enjoyed it. They actually split it into 2 different episodes because my brain was on overload. Because me and my wife were watching it, we were just like, "What is the?" And we were rewinding, then fast forward, rewinding, play. Like it was a lot to take it in 1 episode.
And for $1 million, I couldn't tell you how Moon Knight ended.
I could tell you, because that cliffhanger at the end, baby. Ooh, wait.
No, I remember the scene where Jake Lockley showed up and shot the dude in the head. I remember that. Yeah. I don't remember. Was there like a giant kaiju battle between Khonshu and an alligator? Is that what happened?
I don't remember. Is that what happened? I don't remember. Honestly, I really don't remember. That's probably bad. Is that what happened? So
thanks,
somebody
chat.
in the chat said yes.
Thanks, chat.
Said yes.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Appreciate it,
Jay. Yeah. And that's ridiculous to me. And it was still awesome. And I still loved every part of it. And I still love how Khonshu was kind of a dick the whole time.
He was an asshole, bro. He was an absolute asshole. But he was kind of a thug. I kind of appreciate it. And
Khonshu was about one thing.
Yeah.
Fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And he found a dude who was already good at fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And he made him better. Right. Also, Moon Knight is not my favorite character. Moon Knight is one of my favorite supporting characters. Mm-hmm. He's like Black Widow. He's like I'm thinking of another supporting character that's pretty good. I'm thinking of like ones that aren't like obvious ones too, because I can go through like a million Spider-Man ones, which are all also just Spider-Man.
I mean, they also had a really good cast. I mean, Ethan Hawke was
nailed it.
Fire in that role. I mean,
nailed it.
Great, and of course, and they explored a little bit of the culture in there too. Man, I love that. What's the who was the main female actress that was in that? I forgot what she played. But,
May Calame.
Okay, like her.
She played Layla.
First of all, gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Like my goodness. Wow. And then second of all, I remember my wife said, when she came on the screen as her character, she was like, I absolutely love that they're exploring this right now, and it makes me feel so good. And I was like, you know what?
She was made up for the show.
Yeah.
She was an original character, and she didn't feel like she was stapled on. She felt like a living part of the story.
Like a part of the story. Mm-hmm.
And I was happy to see her. I was happy for both. I was happy for her, and I was happy for the Hippo Goddess. I was happy that she got an avatar because she's like, oh, nobody ever wants me.
Khonshu is so much worse in the comics. He's all do my ish my way, or I'll find someone who will. Yeah, I mean,
but like even
they portrayed it well enough though in the series. To be fair,
for those who want information about reading, for those who can read, they've been doing this.
All right, so I guess I'll opt out of this one. All right, go ahead.
They've been doing comic runs. And there's a lot of different, what it'll be is like name of hero, and then it'll be black, white, and red. They've done Daredevil, they've done Moon Knight, they've done Deadpool, and they've done Punisher, I believe. And maybe a couple others that I missed. But these are like incredibly violent stories where it is a black and white, it is an uninked, except for the bloodshed. These runs have been amazing.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's one was the best.
Okay.
Because Moon Knight is a hero who murders people.
Yeah.
Not an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's not an
anti-hero.
He's a hero.
He is a hero in the exact same way that military snipers are heroes. Their job is to
he's like
kill
the
people.
Dark Knight, essentially, but only worse. Like I'm trying to like see like how would I explain Moon Knight?
He's Batman.
I'm comparing him to. I mean, he's Batman, but not like the regular version of Batman. There's like a dark version. He's that. He's Thomas Wayne of Batman.
He's Azazel. He's Nightfall Batman. If anyone's familiar with Batman comics, he's the Batman who's like, I mean, I could arrest you, but if I kill you, you definitely ain't doing it again. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he is, again, Moon Knight is not a Mr. T. You know, he's not telling you to drink your milk, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and go to school.
As a matter of fact, he doesn't really want to talk, period.
Moon Knight is one of the best sin eaters in storytelling, where he's like, he does the things so that other people don't have to. And sometimes the things he does are terrible. Mm-hmm. But Moon Knight doesn't go around killing innocent people. Literally can't.
Like the time when he took all the Avengers' powers, but that's a separate story for a different time.
Yeah. So the problem with Moon Knight, again, it's hard to follow Moon Knight because it's hard to give a shit about anything going on in Moon Knight's storyline.
Yeah.
But when Moon Knight shows up, then you're like, oh, some shit's about to go down.
Like, as soon as he shows up, he's about to disrupt every possible thing that you have going on. Like
there's a reason he's never been a member of the Avengers, and it's probably his body count. Same thing with Punisher.
Yeah.
Punisher's an anti-hero. Punisher doesn't care if it's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. Punisher cares that that he has his own code. And it breaks his, and whatever that is. So
Moon Knight
he is truly an anti-hero.
Kill certain people, like Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is basically like Ghost Rider, he is the spirit of vengeance.
I was thinking of that.
I think there's a run
in my
too,
head, and I was like, that's a perfect example. Yeah,
Ghost Rider too. Ghost Rider is not inherently an anti-hero.
He's not. I wouldn't classify him as an anti-hero. I think he's a hero.
He's almost neither.
He's definitely not a villain. I wouldn't consider him to be a villain, although
but he doesn't plot, he doesn't scheme, he doesn't plan.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider and Moon Knight, both of them, exist for a purpose. And that purpose is to punish the wicked. Both of them. But Moon Knight is required to punish the wicked through incredible violence.
Yep.
And Ghost Rider is not required in any particular way to punish the wicked. He just is drawn to the wicked.
Yeah, right.
So,
like an innate ability. Now I haven't. So I know that there's a Cosmic Ghost Rider run. I haven't really been able to get into that. Have you been able to get much into the Cosmic Ghost Rider? I know that that's what the Punisher, because we just talked about Punisher. That's Punisher as the new Ghost Rider, but from a different timeline, right?
Empowered with Galactus bullshit.
Okay.
He's a herald of Galactus and the Spirit of Vengeance.
Okay. Do you think that there's something that they're going to be adopting into the MCU, or you think no?
It's honestly, it's like there's a lot of comics. Like, okay, so my favorite Spider-Man character is Ben Reilly.
Okay.
And when I have to defend it, because it's a very defendable statement, it's because
you
think of Andy Samberg, just edginess. Because in the 90s, so the 90s was 3 comic book series. 90s was a terrible time for comics. Just so everyone's clear. It wasn't some of the best thing came in the 90s, but the best were like diamonds in the rough, because there was so much dog shit in the 90s. So much dog shit in the 90s. When people say like, oh, but this arc was there, be like, cool, what happened in those comics between that arc and the next one? Dog shit. Okay. Terrible. There was about 450 X-Men titles. And I'm not exaggerating.
No, you're not.
There was like
really
Excalibur, X Factor, Extreme, X Trapulate. Like, they didn't give a shit. And they're all awful. They're all like, the characters are cool, but the titles were terrible.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The same thing happened in the 90s for Spider-Man, where they were like, we're going to do a quick run called the Clone Saga. And it's going to be involved with Peter, and the clone's going to come back. And as a result of that, the original person who cloned him is returning. The Jackal. Miles Warren is going to return and be a bad guy. And we're going to do this for like about a year. And at the end of that year, they were like, well, we are creatively bankrupt, so keep it going. So keep it going. So keep it going. And we got so much terrible Spider-Man clone stories that it was almost, Venom was dead at the time, Carnage was gone, there was nothing going on in Spider-Man's world, so it was just garbage clones after garbage clones after garbage clones. But Ben Reilly got a spin-off called The Sensational Spider-Man, where he starts...
People were really upset about the Ben Reilly Spider-Man back in the day, which people don't really know about. So here's the thing, like, what you see, so the whole thing about Miles Morales and people like, no, Miles Morales is Miles Morales, and Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So to a certain extent, yes, there is a component to it that I do believe goes with the R word. I do believe that there's a certain component to it, and we'll talk about that later. But when it comes, what I will say about it is that they did the same thing to Ben Reilly. They didn't like the fact that Ben Reilly was getting a lot of praise and clout for being Spider-Man. They were just like, no, Ben Reilly is not Spider-Man. He's Ben Reilly, and Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So to a certain extent, I know people will say, well, no, people just don't like Miles Morales because he is, of a different descent. Yes, there's some component to it that's like that, but that's like a minor component to it. There are people who are really protective of Peter Parker being Spider-Man. And it started back with Ben Reilly because Ben Reilly was getting too much clout as Spider-Man. I just wanted to bring that in there because
you're right.
Something important to say.
So there are characters, I've said this many times, I'll say it. There are characters where their race is incredibly relevant to the character.
Yep.
there are characters where it's not.
Shang-Chi,
Luke
Black
Cage.
Panther,
Luke Cage can never, ever not be black.
Yeah.
He has to be black.
Mm-hmm.
His story doesn't make sense if he's not black.
Yeah.
Peter Parker has to be white. And I say that, and I mean that.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
And why Peter Parker has to be white is because Peter Parker has to be the unluckiest man in the fucking
I lost the cap to my wine. Hold on, go ahead.
He is not allowed happiness. And it feels different if Peter Parker is anything that isn't. That said, now I've said Peter Parker
Spider-Man
has to be white because
Spider-Man
a down on your
doesn't
luck mopey white guy is fucking hilarious. But a down on your luck mopey Dominican is just mean. So
That's fair.
So Peter has to be white. Spider-Man is a fucking name of a fucking hero and can be any color, any race, any gender. Well, probably not any gender on the grounds that it says Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, so you got to go with Spider-Woman.
So you could be like Spider
fair.
something else.
Right.
But like, I don't think if you were a different gender, you would choose Spider-Man. But Spider-Man is a title. First of all, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Venom is a title of the character. Eddie Brock, by the way, Eddie Brock, any race in the world. Eddie Brock, any race in the world. You could make Eddie Brock Asian. It does not matter. Because Eddie Brock is just a mopey, like reporter.
Yeah.
His race is irrelevant. It doesn't matter that he was written as white. He
Even
could
the
be
character
anything.
himself is just like, yeah, whatever, bro. You could get replaced easily.
Yeah.
We don't even need
Venom,
you to be Venom, period.
Venom is not the name of the symbiote. Venom is the symbiote bonded with
Eddie Brock. Yeah.
Eddie Brock. Venom did not bond with Peter Parker. The symbiote bonded with Peter Parker. The hatred the symbiote had after being rejected by Peter, bonding with the person who hated Peter the most in the world, created Venom.
Yeah.
Carnage is the name of a symbiote who fell in love with Cletus Cassidy. This is canon.
Ah, okay.
The symbiote bonded with Cletus, and Carnage is what came of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the symbiote loves Cletus. If the symbiote bonds with any person in the world, and Cletus shows up, symbiote's gone. It is in love with Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah.
Why? Who cares?
Who knows?
There are characters and then there are titles. Moon Knight is a title of a character who was portrayed as X, Y, and Z. You know?
Yeah.
T'Challa can't be a Scotsman. T'Challa has to be black.
Not even black, but like African.
Well, no, we can't say that because South Africans can be white.
That's fair.
He has to be black.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't make sense. But, and I'm going to go a little bit fair on this. Technically, the Black Panther doesn't have to be black because it's a costume.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's not deviate. Let's not cast Michael Cera as the Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like, let's.
Yeah, it's the same thing with.
The Black Panther is the defender of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who could theoretically be the Black Panther that isn't also the black, like a member of Wakanda is like Namor, on the grounds that Namor technically is also bonded with the Heartshaper. But that's, again, if you want to go real deep. Sorry, someone just said vibranium bagpipes and I almost lost it. Just Jesus. If you want to go real deep into it, Black Panther, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. All Spider-Men, by the way. All people with spider powers.
Yeah.
So not just Spider-Man, but Spider-Woman, Silk. What's
Silk,
Anya? What's Anya Corazon? Is she another Spider-Woman, or does she have a different name? I don't remember.
Spider-Woman.
Arachne, that's her name.
Is that her name? Okay.
Yeah.
It's surprising that Silk wasn't in Across the Spider-Verse. I thought that was interesting.
Silk can't be because she doesn't have a canon event. Because she's not a Spider-Man.
No, fair. Okay.
Silk is the only other person who got bit by the same spider. And Silk is my favorite character because it was the only time in history that Peter was happy. Was when Silk showed up. Cindy Moon.
Except for the What If series. No, never mind. I was going to say except for What If, but then I forgot that even in the What If series, Spider-Man pretended to be a mutant, and then I forgot who found. I think it was J. Jonah Jameson who found out that he actually wasn't a mutant because he was a part of House of M at that point. What if storylines just go way too complicated?
What if storylines are hilarious? Because it's almost like they work backwards. It's almost like someone comes up with a crazy ending, and they're like, how do we get here? And they're like, what if Spider-Man... There was one what if that I loved.
Pretended to be a mutant.
You take it over for a sec on this. I'll be right back.
No, this was a funny storyline. So there was a storyline here where Spider-Man... There was a what if storyline where Spider-Man not pretended. Well, actually, he did pretend. He pretended to be a mutant and that he wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. So he was actually a part of the House of M at that point in time. It was later, he ended up faking his death. And then it was later found because J. Jonah Jameson basically found out that he was not a mutant and that he was actually bitten by a radioactive spider. So then he faked his own death to pretty much basically avoid being outed. It was a weird story. The only thing that was the biggest part of that damn story, which is incredibly convoluted, the only part about it was that at the very end of it, the one thing that they showed was that the whole point of it was that he was able to be with Gwen Stacy. Like he was able to actually get married to her. I think they had a child in that what if storyline. And the only reason, and that was kind of like the main point of that story, was that finally Peter Parker was slightly happy because he was with Gwen Stacy. And it was kind of established at that point that his real love is actually Gwen Stacy, not Mary Jane. That was the only thing that really came out of that storyline with the what if series, because otherwise it was kind of like, what the hell am I reading? That's pretty much it. I think you heard the tail end of that, what I was talking about.
Oh, I caught it all. Hold on. Yeah, I'm drawing something right now.
I mean, what if gets crazy? I mean, there was a what if storyline, I think, where like Juggernaut and Wolverine were vampires. Like, what if just goes insane? Gwen greater than MJ all day long. I'm a big Gwen Stacy supporter. I am. I really am. I'm not gonna lie to you. In Beyond the Spider-Verse, if Miles and Gwen don't get together, I may sit in the movie theaters and cry for about 15 minutes. And you guys think I'm joking. You guys think I'm joking. I'm serious. I may sit in the movie theaters and cry for a little bit because I so want a happy ending for a Spider-Man. It's just like, can somebody give me a happy ending for a Spider-Man, please? Because I'm already prepared. I've already prepared my heart that his pops is gonna die. I've already prepared myself for it. But if he can find a way to be with Gwen, although to be fair, that Sitting in a Tree comic with Miles and Gwen Stacy really kind of effed me up a little bit.
What I just put on the screen.
What did you do?
This is what's on this. Like, this is what, like, anyone who writes for Spider-Man, when you walk into the office of the writer's room, this is what's on every wall. Spider-Man checklist. Peter cannot be happy. If you make Peter happy, you must make it so you can only take it away. If you fail at this, you will be forced to write MCU TV shows. That is the Spider-Man checklist.
If you make Peter happy, you must make it only so that you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
However happy you make Peter, it has to be so that when it gets taken away, it hurts more. Peter Parker is not allowed to be happy because if Peter Parker is a hero with spider powers and everything going for him, nobody will fucking care anymore. He needs to be. They won't let him.
What are the recent? So I am not familiar with the recent comics on Spider-Man. I just kind of refuse to read them because they kind of went off the wall a little bit here. Like what
do you want to know?
What are the new Spider-Man comics like? Like, is there anything? Is he still unhappy? Are they still finding ways to just piss him off and just make his life a total living hell?
I will give them credit where credit's due. They find new and exciting ways to make his life hell. So the most recent arc of what happened is that MJ left him again.
I was going to say which time.
How many times lost. So he cut a deal with Mephisto and lost his marriage to MJ. Except what? MJ cut a deal with Mephisto. This is a while ago. This is like a decade ago almost. But he cut a deal with Mephisto. MJ cut a separate deal where she would remember. MJ cut a deal with Peter cut a deal with Mephisto saying, I will remove everyone's memory of you being Spider-Man. Literally the same thing that happened in No Way Home.
I was going to say, no. Okay,
or Far From Home. The same thing, whichever one. No Way Home. The same thing, except Mephisto cut the deal with him. But the price for that deal was that your relationship with MJ would be undone. Because Mephisto is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he also is part of the Spider-Man writing team. So Peter agreed to that, but MJ cut a separate deal with Peter.
Oh God, here we go.
With Mephisto. And the deal was she would remember everything. But what she gave up is the chance to ever get back together with Peter.
This seems dumb. All of this.
So they apparently forgot that. And then she got back together with Peter temporarily. And something happened. We found out what it was. I'm not going to spoil it, but no one's going to read it, so it doesn't matter. You're just going to have to now. You just have to read Dark Web now. Haha, fuck you guys.
I'm not reading that crap.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to tell you. It doesn't matter. It's garbage. It's funny, but it's garbage. So Peter started dating this guy named Paul, who has 2 kids. Not Peter, sorry. MJ started dating this guy named Paul. And we hate Paul.
Okay.
It's so easy to hate Paul.
Okay. Paul's an asshole. Okay.
He's not. No, it's the exact opposite. He's too fucking nice.
Okay.
And Paul has 2 kids. And MJ.
Again, my previous statement stands. He's a dickhead. And it doesn't matter whether or not he's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And now
she's
MJ's a mutant
Peter because of him, so therefore he's a dickhead. This doesn't matter.
MJ is now a mutant. Why? Shut up. And her power is jackpot. And there's a comic run. So there was a comic run for 8 issues or 10 issues called MJ and Mary Jane and Black Cat, where it was just the 2 people that fucked Peter regaling about failing the Bechdel test over and over again. For anyone who doesn't know, the Bechdel test is when 2 women with both having names and autonomy and roles have a discussion that has nothing to do with a man. That is the Bechdel test. They are constantly always referring to the fact that both of them have fucked Peter. So she's now a mutant with superpower, and her superpower is luck, and her name is Jackpot. So now the new run of that is Jackpot and Black Cat. And I cannot, you know what?
I don't even
want you to pull
it up. I don't want you to pull it up. I don't want you to pull it up. I don't want you to do it. So basically what you're saying is that there's no reason to read any of these comic runs because they're probably never going to be relevant to anything in life. It's basically what you're saying. I understand that.
More or less.
Okay.
But I want to show you
but I'm still gonna read them
cover.
anyways. Is basically what you're saying.
You're not gonna read them.
I probably will.
You're not gonna.
I'm gonna get bored. Well, probably not those specifically. I probably won't.
Why is Google not Googling? There it is. Okay,
it knows you want it right now. Right. So while you do that,
while I look this up,
while you in the interim, so should we go? We could go back to X-Men 97 because there's a lot that's on your screen right now. So we talked about the Nimrod thing. That was good. There's also like the origin of the X-Men because you see the Marvel Girl mask over there. And oh gosh, you found.
Would you like to know why people are picking up this comic? I'll give you 4 reasons.
They're right there in front of me. The 4 reasons. I would honestly say that it's probably just one. It's probably 2 reasons, and then you look at the other 3 or 4 and say, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. That seems legit. My question is, why does she need a suit if her superpower is just luck? Isn't she? I'm a little confused. Why does she need a suit? For optics? Is it optics? Is that all it is? Because I feel like that's all it is. It's just optics. Okay. Listen, they're definitely marketing to the right demographic.
Hey, look! It's fucking Paul! Fuck Paul!
Hey, Paul looks kind of cool.
Also,
Paul looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, okay.
Ask me why people are buying this comic.
Okay, all right, I get it. I understand. I mean, I personally still wouldn't read it.
Also, I'm gonna throw it down for a second. She could do better.
I mean, I can tell that she could do better.
The fact that Black Cat fucking Paul
looks like a hipster D-bag.
Fucking Paul.
Why do we hate Paul, guys? It's not Paul's fault that Mary Jane decided to make a deal with Mephisto. It's not Paul's fault. I wonder at some point if somebody's
Hey, look, she's beating people up with her hair now.
Because she's
why?
Medusa?
Shut up. Shut up. Pay attention to her boobs. And her abs. And her butt. Hey, look. There's a zipper on Black Cat's outfit. Why?
Great observation.
Why is there a zipper? What purpose does it serve? Other than to remind you that Black Cat... So anyway, that's Black Cat and Jackpot. The continuation of Black Cat and Mary Jane. And it is purchased on the grounds of titties. What's the story like? I don't know. Paul's the guy in a chair, so fuck it.
Breast? I don't know. That's
breastises. That's what the storyline is.
That's what the storyline is. Breast.
All right, X-Men 97. So
it's KFC all over.
We got Cable. We got Cable, who is the key to everything, right?
Right.
He's the son. He was sent to the future. So the original comic storyline, OZT, Operation Zero Tolerance, took place after the advent of Onslaught.
Mm-hmm.
Which is after Magneto came back from his death. And he came back full-on supervillain. Right? Yeah, full-on after not Genosha. Asteroid M, maybe? I don't remember, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember. But he died, he came back.
He died, he came back, full-on villain.
Yeah.
Professor X wiped his mind. That action created Onslaught.
Mm-hmm.
All of Magneto's hatred and all of Professor X's psychic abilities. Onslaught was such a nightmare that it took every Marvel hero to stop him. I think Sentry was involved. As a result of Onslaught, Operation Zero Tolerance took effect. Operation Zero Tolerance was Bastion's plan the entire time, because he's been here the whole time in the background,
right?
To turn humans into what Master Mold's original plan was, which was make humans into Sentinels. So he made all the Omega Sentinels.
Well, they call them Prime Sentinels, but yeah, Nano Sentinels, same thing.
So they've moved the things around, and all of this is what led to the Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
And this is what Cable has been trying to prevent. The Age of Apocalypse. Granted, he's not like he wants to stop the Bastion thing. He wants to stop he wants to stop all of it. But Cable is not from Days of Future Past. Cable's not from Bishop's timeline. He's from 1,000 years in the future. Yeah. But he's from way further in the future. And he's trying to prevent the Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
Cable is right now trying to prevent Bastion from doing what he does because it's what leads to the Age of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse. Mm-hmm.
The problem is because the comic books are different, and I'm going to show you some other stuff. Oh, here's the picture of Doom. They showed us Doom.
So here's the thing. When Doom says, "Nah, fam," nah, fam, this you going too deep, my guy. That is when you're like,
Cable is explaining the timeline here, saying, "Look, here's what's gonna happen. Right here is when Professor X and Magneto go their separate ways. Right here is when Jean Grey is cloned making my mom. Right here is some bullshit that happens, and this is where we all die." That's what Cable is saying. This is the Age of Apocalypse, with a whole bunch of stuff here. Now, the Age of Apocalypse can't happen until Nimrod exists. Nimrod doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist yet. Yep.
Until Bastion succeeds. Because that's the loop, the time loop. Because Nimrod is Bastion Nimrod is Bastion.
Yep.
So they're gonna try to fix that. We got the Cable, we got the Summers timeline being Summers G. We got an old ass Polaris doing some bullshit.
Yeah.
And then we got the ending of the episode where Professor X comes in.
To me,
there are some problems if you watch the episode. Bastion thought he was dead.
I hope
Bastion was mad that he was dead. So his plan went faster.
Yeah.
That's why we're out of order. Bastion was always going to destroy Genosha. He was not expecting Genosha to be where it was as early as it was. That's why he called Gyrick an idiot. He's like, that idiot Gyrick killed Professor X, which ruined everything. Genosha was always supposed to be a state. He was always supposed to cause the E for Extinction event. That was his plan. But the storyline moved up because Professor X was dead. Now he knows Professor X isn't dead. His plans are not coming because he has future knowledge because he was from the future. Professor X coming back doesn't inherently fix the problem because he had already planned to do this when Professor X was alive. His death was not important. We now run into an issue. Now I have Doom and Zemo who are part of this team. Doom, as you mentioned, Doom was like, hey, just as a reminder, I'm not cool with war crimes. And the reason why Doom's not cool with war crimes, and the reason is because motherfuckers Romani and the fucking Romani were treated fucking horribly, and that's how he got to where he is. Exactly. So he is not cool with racism in any form. That's why I love Doom. Doom does not respect racism, and I dig that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that was definitely not was that Doom or was that one of his bots? Definitely one of that might have been a Doom bot. It might have not been Doom himself. Because Doom was just like, you know what, I don't respect this being that much. I'm gonna just send my bot fam. I'm gonna just holler at you. To one of my homies.
So it's always a Doom bot. Yeah. Here, I'll put it to you this way. Did Doom win?
Did Doom win?
If Doom won, it was Doom. Winning. If Doom lost, it was a Doom bot.
Okay, that's fair.
So if we don't know, also, so this was the Zemo. So we saw a bunch of we
saw a bunch of cameos.
So the thing that's the most, again,
Omega Red, there was Rachel Summers, we had Polaris.
I had the other picture, which is right there. Spider-Man. They mentioned Camertage. Actually, Beast said Strange.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't pick up on that. Good point.
Yeah, first thing he said was Strange, the Mystics of Camertage. So I was like, this guy knows.
Yeah. Okay.
But all of that, right? That is to show us that in this universe, we saw Captain America. In this universe, the Marvel continuity exists. The X-Men aren't alone in this universe. That's what I'm saying.
It's not 19999, right? But it is a universe that, because I mean, really, ultimately, all universes have their Big Bang per se, right, as they call it, and they, for the most part, follow kind of like a trend, but then there's some deviations from the original trend, and that's kind of basically what this one is.
You into theory time now, or you want to?
Oh, let's do theory, because in my opinion, there definitely is. This is why I don't necessarily know which direction they're going in, because it's like, okay, you have Onslaught hasn't happened yet, but they're already leading into this storyline. Then we're getting Age of Apocalypse kind of earlier, but then it also could very well lead into Avengers versus X-Men. So there's so many different directions that they're going. And then of course you have the OZT storyline. What are they doing? You still think it ties all to Kang?
So at the end of the X-Men run,
comic run or
the 90s, the original cartoon.
Okay.
At the end of the original cartoon, Bishop went to the nexus of all time, and he met this crackhead right here. And this crackhead told Bishop how to stop Apocalypse. And we were told that he is Immortus, which is a variant of Kang.
Yep.
This is all canon to this universe.
This is the variant of Kang that worked with the TVA, right? The Immortus.
We don't know. We don't know that.
Okay.
What we do know is that in this continuity, Kang needed Apocalypse to fail.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. So, Kang exists in this reality.
Yeah.
Because he does. we have seen Immortus as a character in the MCU.
We saw Immortus.
He has been defeated. Sorry, I'm just kind of processing that.
I mean, come on. What else was there from Quantumania that was good, bro? This man needed a loss. Come on now.
So what this episode confirmed to us, beyond everything else, is that the Marvel characters exist in this universe.
Yep.
We already know Kang exists in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
We already know the Watcher has visibility on this universe.
Right.
Because we saw the events of Genosha.
We saw Genosha, yep. And he only shows up typically in catastrophic events.
So we've seen Zemo. We've seen Doom. We've seen the future. And we've seen
Silver
Omega
Samurai.
Red.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Silver Samurai doesn't... Nobody cares.
No, Silver Samurai has some importance there because I feel like,
yeah,
I mean, that unites a particular nation or a side of the world.
So we now know all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Loki is now monitoring
Yep.
the sacred timeline. And we now know the TVA's current purpose is to not prune, but to ensure the safety of other realities.
Yeah. It's to make sure that they have a chance.
Which means that Kang and Kang variants will continue.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a really key point to make.
I got you. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. X-Men ended with the death of Charles Xavier and him being brought to the Shi'ar Empire.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it ended. That was the pruning.
Oh, okay.
X-Men, the original X-Men cartoon ended because Xavier was killed. And because Xavier was killed, mm-hmm, and because Immortus still existed, because they were able to stop Apocalypse,
mm-hmm,
they pruned that timeline. Loki took over. They're no longer pruning. Xavier wasn't killed.
Yeah.
Xavier wasn't killed. Immortus is now possible.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are running into time travel bullshit.
Yep.
I don't know that we're going to see Kang, but this is animation. Animation takes a lot longer. And we are confirmed that seasons 1 and 2 are already done.
Yeah.
Season 3 was the new one, the one that was just ordered. So we have 1 and 2.
Season 3 was, okay, we're doing really well with season 1. We're going to be able to continue this on with season 2.
I even heard season 2 is coming out this year, end of this year.
Well, the reports were that they want to be able to release them back to back, right? They don't want it to be, okay, we come out with season 1, then you have to wait until 2026. For season 2, they want it to be back to back to back, like how you see, with TV shows.
So this season has been in the tank and been done. But the first 2 seasons have been done or close to done for a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of things have changed in the last year. I'm willing to bet that this story ends, the next 2 episodes, end in 3 things. These are my 3 bets. Number 1, the X-Men lose, and they lose fucking hard.
Yep.
Number 2, Kang is involved.
That's the one I'm not sure about yet, but go ahead.
He's got to be. Bo DeMeo is so keyed in to the old comic. And the fact that when he was the showrunner for this show, Kang was the big bad. It's not easy to reanimate.
Yeah, so it's not easy to reanimate, but I'm wondering if they've made some sort of changes to it. But it's hard because they did keep his cameo in one of the episodes, right? So because you guys have seen it already, like the Genosha episode where with Decimate, there was a cameo of Bud DeMeo in that one. And it would make sense to tie that directly in because at the time when they reproduced the show and had everything finalized, Kang was still a big part of the storyline. And we do believe they're going to recast. It's hard for them to divert away from the Kang storyline at this point. They have to at least continue it. Even if they do bring in an additional villain that takes it from there, they still have to honor the storyline a little bit, which I have some theories on Deadpool and how that's going to work out with incursions and things like that. But that's a separate story for a different time. Um, and I think that Kang is going to be a big part of that storyline, as well as looking at things like the Beyonder and all that. But whatever.
There is no way they're ditching Kang now.
They can't.
There's no way.
They're too knee deep in it.
Yeah, that's what that was Immortus. That's what I was showing before here. He was Bender, the janitor of the timeline. This was the guy. And this was Kang, or a version of Kang.
A version of Kang, yeah.
They can't. So now, what they need to do is it's easy to recast someone that's variant.
Yeah.
We got an entire 2 seasons of a show where one of the variants was a chick version of the character.
Yeah, you're referring to Loki. Yep.
Yeah, who chose a different name. Sylvie,
which basically was Enchantress. They just decided to make her Sylvie.
Yeah. No canon. They just were like, it's a variant of Loki.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chick.
Which, by the way,
there's no reason they can't have variants of Kang be a different person.
Nova, but that's a separate conversation for a different time.
Well, it might be. It still could be Cassandra Nova.
It could be her, but they could also make her a variant of Charles Xavier if they really wanted to fit a storyline.
Remember, Deadpool was not supposed to be out by now.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't move this up or back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the time it was supposed to release.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were getting a little ahead of ourselves thinking this is going to lead into Deadpool.
No, I don't think so.
We were supposed to have Kang Dynasty this year, right?
This movie, in theory, I believe that the Deadpool movie more so leads directly into things like Fantastic Four, whatever that new Doctor Strange movie is supposed to be, and Secret Wars. I think those are the connections to Deadpool.
No, I don't think
Deadpool really connects with the X-Men 97 series. I don't think that there really is a connection there. I can understand why people think that, but just based on what I've seen so far in the trailer, just watching it over and over again, it seems to more connect with those other 3 movies. And it loosely connects with Fantastic Four. It's not directly. It's more of it connects because of Secret Wars and because of Doctor Strange.
I think the movies that had reshoots were probably... Hold on.
there's a couple of things that I think Deadpool's gonna do. It's gonna close out the Fox universe, but then also tie in. Oh yeah, that there is the Marvels.
So here's the post-credit scene of the Marvels, and this is Beast. Oh, gross. I can't click buttons, apparently. And this is, again, an alternate reality. This is the 97 universe. This is not the Fox X-Men. This is the 97 universe. This
with that Captain Marvel
is a scene that was refilmed, because we know there were reshoots for that movie. And more importantly, we know there were reshoots that the director wasn't a part of because she went off to film another movie that's going to tank. These are the movies, these are the things that they reshoot. So I think that this movie is not likely going to set up anything for Deadpool. I think that if anything, Deadpool might be including things from this series, but I don't think this movie is setting up anything for Deadpool, or the show is it. I think Bastion is a scapegoat. I think he is the big bad we see. Yeah. But what happened at the end of this episode? 3 things happened. Bastion won. Magneto was right.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Magneto was... Whatever Magneto did played into Bastion's plan.
We don't know that. Because we don't know that Bastion wanted him to be released. We can assume that. Because why wouldn't he just kill Magneto?
I'm theorizing that he wanted him to be released because now Magneto is essentially, as Wolverine said, declared war. Not just against Bastion, but declared war against
humanity,
right?
How many people do you think Magneto killed?
Oh, that was a conversation that I had earlier. I mean, you got to think about it. Planes that were in the air, boat, ships that were out there that had not just humans, by the way.
The boats can still float.
Not just humans. Yeah, that's fair. Not just humans, but probably also had mutants on them too.
How many hospitals?
Yeah.
How many nuclear power plants? Omega Red was released. Magneto killed millions of people.
Millions of people, easily.
Magneto just killed millions of people.
And that's the reason why I think it worked in Bastion, sort of like favor. Maybe he hadn't intended for it to be this way, but this is going to force people to his cause, although he's still going to be playing it from the shadows.
We got to see Magneto the way we always should see Magneto.
You mean
because people kid gloves Magneto a lot.
Is that
sexy cum gutter Magneto?
First and foremost, we now have the answer: boxers or briefs. Magneto's a briefs guy. It's clear. We've answered that question.
Thank God. Thank God. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know me. You know what I'm about. Yeah, I'm about some Magneto. I saw that scene and I was like,
I understand. Listen, I get it. I couldn't do anything else. I was probably not one.
Bro had like cuts in his pecs. Like he had cuts here, and I was like, Gambit, you never had a chance, bro.
Nah. This man came out.
But if you're gonna lose Rogue to somebody, it's Magneto. It's the 65-year-old. Actually, how old is he in the 90s?
Listen. This is
he was a child in 32.
Enough.
Oh, he's only 57.
When my kids piss me off, I'm going to be very clear about this. When my kids piss me off, I'm going to go directly into the middle of the living room, and I'm going to see if I have the juice. Enough.
And
I'm going to see what they say.
Here's the problem. I saw this. I saw this, and I was like, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Magneto just killed millions of people. He killed 1%, 0.01% of the Earth's population. 8 million people. And I was like, and how did he do it? He stood on the North Pole and said, fuck you. In his briefs. Bro, there are two classes of people in the world. People that recognize Magneto as the OG badass, and people that haven't learned.
Yeah.
Magneto is now the villain of this story. The problem is, I'm all for it. I'm like, kill them all, fuck them.
Listen, he said in episode 2, he said, listen, don't make me let you down.
Don't make Val Cooper was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And he was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and she's like, spit on me, call me a name. Just do something. What did he say to her? What did he say that she was like, click.
Yeah.
You're free. Magneto is brolic as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
And the fact that Magneto lost all the time was exclusively because, and everyone needs to know this, because you don't know, Magneto did not want to hurt mutants. His biggest fear and his biggest problem was not that the X-Men, he could beat every single one of them.
Oh, easily.
He didn't want mutant on mutant violence. It wasn't worth it to him. Because he was trying to build a better world for mutants. And this is the time.
The Krakoa storyline works perfectly for him. It's not really even like a Charles Xavier finally realizes that you cannot coexist. It was more of, no, Magneto was right. That's really kind of what
the problem is. Magneto was always right. But he was always right because regular ass people suck. He didn't have to be. By the way,
Cyclops had a Magneto moment. You
when
people are ungrateful. I was like, this sounds like something Magneto would say. Have you already been influenced by Magneto?
If you haven't read AVX, which is part of the Phoenix 5 saga, when the Phoenix showed back up and was like, I need a host. And Cyclops is like, shut the fuck up. And the Phoenix is like, zaddy. And yeah. And then Cyclops with the Phoenix Force was like, yo, Charles, quick question. Are you dead?
To be fair.
For the record, these are ruby glasses. These are roses.
To be fair, Cyclops is he the only X-Men that's killed Professor X? Is he the only one?
Professor X has never died before. Cyclops straight murdered Professor X and became one of the best villains in the history of Marvel Comics during the AVX storyline. And it was all real simple, by the way. This all took place after Operation Zero Tolerance. This all took place after Avengers Disassembled. After House of M. After Avengers all of this.
Disassembled? Oh my God.
All of this happened, and then Cyclops is like, yo, real quick, I'm not gonna let you kill mutants anymore. And everyone was like, you and what army? And then Cyclops fucking murdered so many people. Like, I've always said, and I'll say it again, people hate Cyclops for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
When people are like, Cyclops is a nerd, he's a Boy Scout. No, Cyclops is a philandering fucking monster.
Uh-huh. That tried to keep it together all the time, but y'all just keep on effing with him. What it is.
Cyclops, in the events of House of M, in the reality that Scarlet Witch created to make sure every single existing mutant had the happiest reality they could so they wouldn't fight it. Yep. You know who Cyclops was married to?
I don't know. Ooh.
Give me a sec. I'll show you.
Was it Emma? It couldn't have been Jean Grey.
No one. No one.
He was married to no one? I knew it was Emma.
In the happiest reality for Cyclops, he was married to Emma Frost because Emma Frost is a stone cold bitch that gets exactly what she wants. And what she wants is Scott Summers telling her to shut up. If you don't like Cyclops, you don't know Cyclops. He is so cool. And we have never seen an awesome Cyclops until X-Men 97.
Yeah, I was going to say the first episode of X-Men 97 and then the 5th episode of X-Men 97 and then the last episode of X-Men 97.
Also,
episode 8. I mean,
12-inch cock, right? No question.
When Cable said, "You have a Porsche," and then he gave that little sinister smile, I was like, you son of a bitch.
He's like, this is my disposable Porsche.
It's like, you son of a divot. Cyclops, where have you been, Scott Summers? Where have you been, my friend? I missed you.
You ever watch Supernatural?
I've only watched like maybe a couple episodes. I've never watched a full season.
So there's a thing in Supernatural that's very small. You'd have to notice it. You have to pay really close attention, but I've rewatched Supernatural too many fucking times. Dean and Sam. Sam is kind of the goody two-shoes.
Okay.
And Dean is kind of the badass, right?
Yeah.
But they very rarely had sex scenes.
Is that Echo's character? Is that who it is?
What do you mean?
Echo, is Jason? Is
Eccleston. Jason Eccleston. Yeah. Or I don't remember his name. Edelman, whatever.
Yeah.
Sam and Dean. Sam is the good guy with the long hair. Dean is the short-haired James Dean kind of rip-off character. And Eccles, thank you. Jensen Eccles, that's his name. Weird-ass name.
Eccles, yeah.
Yeah. So you take those two characters. They rarely have sex scenes, but they did each have two. And in both of the sex scenes, the goody two-shoes was violent as fuck. And the badass motherfucker was soft and gentle.
Okay.
How you think Cyclops fucking? I'm gonna leave that with you for like 30 seconds.
I mean, now that I have to think about it, I feel like he would be aggressive as a motherfucker. Just because he tries to come off as being the nice guy. He tries to come off as being what Jay said. I hate Cyclops because he's such a dick, but he thinks he's a nice guy. He's a hypocrite. So to be fair, when you're put in the position of leadership of hotheads, Jean Grey, some knuckleheads like Gambit, And of course, you have like the later, sort of like iterations of it, right? With like with Colossus and the other crew, Nightcrawler. Well, Nightcrawler is actually a fairly easy character to lead. Don't you kind of have to be a dick in order to be able to lead the X-Men? Like, let's be real. How are you going to lead the X-Men and not be a dick? They would walk all over your ass. So I kind of feel like he has to be a dick in order to be able to say that he's a leader of the X-Men. But I do agree. He is kind of a hypocrite.
Cyclops doesn't think he's a nice guy. Cyclops doesn't think he's a nice guy.
You don't think that he thinks that he thinks that he is.
He thinks he's right.
Maybe that's what we're mistaken, is that we think that he thinks that he is correct in what he's doing. Maybe that's what we're interpreting as him being a nice guy. But let's be real. How could he not be a dick trying to lead that group? You think that he would be able to have the respect of Wolverine by not being an asshole? Let's keep that 100 for a second. And let's be very clear. Wolverine does respect Cyclops. He respects him.
Yeah.
He hates him.
He don't like him because he up in Jean Grey's guts.
Yeah. Like, he absolutely hates. Nothing more showed me how much Wolverine respects Cyclops. And when Jean Grey kissed him, by the way, hypocritically, because then she is going to complain about Cyclops having this.
How long did that last? How long did that last? It lasted just long enough for her to remember he got that good dick, though.
Yeah. So, but she was hypocritical, though, because she kissed Logan. And I'm like, but to be fair, Logan was just like, whoa, nah, whoa.
Logan would not beat Cyclops in a fight. Like, you do know that, right?
There's rules.
Like, everyone knows that, right? Like, he would get his ass kicked by Cyclops.
You think so?
Hold on.
You think so? Because I think Wolverine would. So here's my thing. Cyclops' powers are interesting to me. What a line.
Cyclops is arrogant. That's his thing. And Jay's kind of nailed it. Jay's like, I hate Cyclops because he's a dick, but he thinks he's a nice guy. He's not a hypocrite. He's an arrogant prick. Because okay. Cyclops is a fucking monster. Cyclops was trained from childhood from Professor X to be a leader.
Not only that, his parents were also assholes to him, so he had to develop tough skin.
Everyone was assholes to him. He was the weird kid with red glasses.
Isn't he like slightly on the spectrum as well? Am I wrong about that?
Well, he has 26 plans. He has more than 26 plans. Yes, he's clearly on the fucking spectrum.
Yeah.
As a person on the spectrum, yeah, he absolutely is.
By the way, that's not me taking a jab at him. To be fair, my son is on the spectrum. Like, whatever. Like, I there's no jabs where that's because I feel like I always have to clear that up because I'm like, I'm not taking a shot at him.
Yo, just look at. I gotta buy this. I gotta buy this print, bro. This display.
Mm-hmm. No,
look
like
at how cool that is.
Cyclops is one of the coolest characters, in my opinion, that has never really been explored on the big screen. There's been enough exploration of him in the comics, but it's never been explored on the big screen, which is the reason why which is the reason why I love what they've done with him in this series. He's been perfect.
Who's your perfect Cyclops casting for live action?
Ooh.
I know mine.
I don't know. So I don't know actors like that. I do think that if I'm going with like the arrogant dick kind of storyline, I do think that Henry Cavill can pull that off pretty well.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I almost swore. No, that would be a good one. That's
Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling as Cyclops. One. Just the dude where you're like, yo, fuck this guy, but you're also like, I get it though.
Yeah, yeah. He's perfect.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, to be fair though, I do think Henry Cavill would pull that off pretty well. I think Henry Cavill. This is my thing. I don't think he's necessarily a. All right, and people are gonna probably chastise me for this. I don't think he's a great actor, but I think he is a dedicated to the role actor. So he'll pull off an incredibly respectable performance in any role that he portrays. And I think that he could pull off Cyclops pretty well. I do think, though, there is a certain sense of grace that he would not. Here's the thing. Cyclops is a dick, but he does also show a lot of vulnerability. And you have to be able to pull that off. And I think Ryan Gosling probably would be able to pull it off a little bit better, just based on what I've seen him do in previous roles.
I think it's Ryan Gosling. Christian Bale would make a good Cyclops. Christian Bale gives big villain vibes.
I feel like Christian Bale would be a really good Kang. Oh, okay. I think Christian Bale would be a really good Kang. But they're probably not going to go that direction now because I do think that they are a little bit concerned about certain images. I'll leave that there. But
yeah, I don't think we're recasting a black guy into Christian Bale, who's also already in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, was he really in the MCU? Because who was that character?
No one could possibly know.
Yeah, who was that character? It's character
unknowable.
That character is unreal. It's not real. It never happened, in my opinion. Or the Who Butcher? I mean, or the kids kidnapper?
Gore the boogeyman. Gore the convoluted plot. Gore the why bother.
Man. Wow. No, but I don't say it. So yeah, perfect cast. I think Ryan Gosling is pretty good. I think Henry Cavill is another good one. X-Men is gonna be interesting to me because it is based on what they're doing right now with X-Men 97. Where do they go with a live action X-Men in the MCU?
They go straight into AVX, right?
You think so?
A whole bunch of mutants just show up. A whole bunch, like we already have superheroes being superheroes, right, in the storyline. Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna end up in a world where like Daniel Radcliffe is Cyclops. That's hilarious.
Wasn't he rumored to be Wolverine? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that rumor has kind of undone. I believe it's Taron Egerton, I think is his name.
Oh, Eggsy?
Eggsy, yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as in Kingsman, amazing.
Yeah. He can also pull off that gruff, depends on his American accent.
Yeah.
Which, we haven't really heard, I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Hugh Jackman's been able to pull off that American accent pretty well, considering, he's British. Is he British? Yeah. He's British, right?
Australian.
It's Australian, okay.
Yeah. Which is like British minus.
Yeah, it's like it's British, but it's not. That's basically what it is. Oh, he's been able to pull that off pretty well. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I am incredibly excited to see Hugh Jackman back as freaking Wolverine.
Okay, although, so if we're gonna talk about that,
let me be real though. Let me be real. I'm gonna keep it 100% with you. Seeing him in that as a tall ass Wolverine still bothers me to this day. No, that's my only thing. I'm like, Wolverine is like 5'2", bro, and you are like 6'7". It still looks weird, bro.
I don't think he is. Hollywood's just all short people, for what it's worth. I think he's like.
He's probably 6'1".
I think Hugh Jackman's maybe 6'6'1". Hugh Jackman.
He looks
height.
about 6'1".
Oh, he's my height. He's 6'3". Okay.
6'3". Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zac Efron is 5'8". Yo,
he looks
the chick,
5'8".
the chick who played X-23.
Yeah.
Oh,
Daphne Keane? Is that her
yeah.
name?
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's adorable. And then I saw her recently. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm allowed to look at her like this.
How old is she?
I'm not. 19?
19. Wow. When
Yeah.
we saw her, I felt like she looked
Like 12?
Like I felt like
12?
she looked like 8.
Yeah,
He's a huge jacked man. No, he is though.
Yeah, like I saw her recently and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe it's because I have children, but I saw her and I was just like, oh, she's still a baby. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying anything to that. It's just like, I don't know, it's like weird that people are like, the Olsen twins are 18 now. I'm like, y'all are fucking gross. Because it feels the same way. Where I'm like, yo, the only time I've ever seen this chick, she was a child. And then I saw a picture of her now, and I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't. This picture's not on.
You know, hey, in the future, we'll be able to meet them on the red carpet. You know, and we'll get to see how short. Well, then again, you're tall. I'm not tall at all. I'm barely 5'11".
So just say you're 6 foot. It's fine. Nobody knows. Also, you're married. It doesn't matter how tall you are.
I mean, listen. I have the length where it matters. Okay. All
right. So back to what you were saying. Kevin Feige originally told Hugh Jackman, "Don't come back as Wolverine," because.
Oh, because of Old Man Logan.
Yeah, because Old Man Logan was such a good ending that he didn't want to mess with it.
Was it?
And listen, I enjoy the movie Old Man Logan.
Was it?
I enjoy the movie. It was a good movie.
It was a fun movie. Don't get me wrong.
But if you honestly saw the end of Logan and were like, everything is good now, I feel like you're not a fan. I feel like you are, like we've said before, you're a fair weather fan. You're a casual. Because that is not
pissed.
That is not. So, okay. Wolverine, I'm going to say something very unpopular. Hugh Jackman was good as Wolverine in 2.5 movies.
Days of Future Past was one.
X2, Days of Future Past, and roughly
part of the Wolverine.
The Wolverine, yeah, part of the Wolverine. Wolverine.
I know which ones.
Yeah. So, in the first X-Men, awful. In the third X-Men, super awful, awful garbage.
It was
hilarious
it was
in his
Wolverine.
One scene in the X-Men First Class where he told them to go fuck themselves.
That was pretty
hilarious. But also, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And then he showed up in Days of Future Past, which was the second one, right, of that? And that was great.
Great in that.
He was great in that.
So good.
And then he was in he wasn't in Apocalypse, but he was in Dark Phoenix as Weapon X for like 18 seconds.
Okay.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, he was terrible. It was terrible. Everything was terrible. Yep, except the Blob. That was the best thing.
Blob was good. Yeah, Blob was good.
Yeah, sorry, Will.i.am.
I mean, Victor Creed wasn't terrible. I actually liked his character in that movie, to be fair.
I liked both versions of Sabretooth, even though they were both very different. I liked the Liev Schreiber, I'm a person with opinions and thoughts. Sabretooth, but I also like the Tyler Mane Farrell, I'm just here to fight Sabretooth.
Like when he,
who is the one
like,
that is confirmed for Deadpool.
Nice. When he killed will.i.am's character, I was like, yes, because he was annoying as bro. I was like, perfect. And then when he also then saved Wolverine at the very end, I was just like, that's, to be fair, Sabretooth doesn't, and that's what I think people don't understand. Sabretooth doesn't necessarily hate Wolverine. He mad. He
big mad.
He's mad at Wolverine, but he doesn't want to necessarily see him die,
They're not brothers.
perish.
They're not brothers. They're not brothers. If you think they're brothers, that's from the TV show, from the movie, from the Wolverine movie, X Origins.
You're right.
They're not brothers. They're not brothers. They're not brothers. They're not brothers. If you think they're brothers, you're wrong. It's fine. You could be wrong. It's not an indication that you're a bad person if you're wrong. People can be wrong all the time. I was wrong once in 2007. It was crazy. I had to change my entire life. You can be wrong. They're not brothers. They're both Weapon X programs.
Yeah.
And Sabretooth is mad because Wolverine is better than him. Mm-hmm. So he's constantly trying to be like, nah, I'm better. Sabretooth has a better healing factor, but is also a garbage person.
Yeah, Sabretooth they're rivals, but they're not.
No, they're unrelated completely in the comics.
They hate each other, but they also look out for it's a weird relationship. I don't even know how to explain. I don't know how to explain Sabretooth and Wolverine. Just understand that, like, they hate each other to the core, but at the same time they care about each other at the same. It's a weird situation. It's hard to explain their relationship. Their relationship is hard to explain, personally. What about Famke Johnson? I said Famke Johnson. I don't even know if that's her last name. Famke Janssen, I think is her name, as Jean Grey. I actually like Famke.
She was a great Jean Grey.
Here's the thing.
She was a great Jean Grey.
I just thought The Last Stand was just. Here's the thing about the Phoenix Saga. I don't know if you can ever do that in one movie. That's always been my problem with Dark Phoenix, which you cannot do that in one series, in one movie. I don't know how you can do that. That's like a two-parter at least.
The problem with the X-Men movies, spoilers from the video, but the problem with the X-Men movies is the same as the problem with the Spider-Man movies, is the same as the problem with the Batman movies. Every Batman movie sucks.
Yeah.
The only one, I've been very clear, the only one that I consider to be a good Batman movie of all of the Batman movies is the most recent one, The Batman. That's the only one that passes my high bar of what it means to be Batman. And even that one wasn't perfect, but it was close.
Let's be very clear. We didn't say Christian Bale, and a lot of you guys will be like, "Whoa, that's what about that's the Batman?" No, that's the Dark Knight. That's just significant.
Dude, I would go into comic book stores and tell people that, like, when I would show up at a comic book store and I'd pick up like Batman comics because I fucking love Batman comics, and people would be like, "Oh man, are you excited for Dark Knight Rises?" I'm like, "No, those movies are terrible."
I don't think they're terrible.
And they're like,
movies.
"They're not terrible." I'm like, "They're not Batman movies.
They're just
like,
not.
It's the best Batman I've ever seen." I'm like, "Then you don't know Batman. That's it."
Yeah, it's not a Batman.
Then you don't know Batman. Like, it's cool that you enjoy the movies, but don't talk to me about Batman. There are 3 characters in DC that you cannot talk to me about. Batman is number 1. Nightwing is number 2.
Nightwing.
Weird kind of third flex. I'm not gonna lie. It's a weird one. Green Lantern is number 3.
How is that a weird flex, though?
Because Green Lantern is publicly not a very popular character.
Okay, that's fair. But I like Green Lantern because he's not just one character. He's just not just one
every
person.
Green Lantern. I didn't say Hal Jordan. I didn't say Kyle Rayner. I didn't say Jon Stewart, and I didn't say Guy Gardner. all Green Lantern comics.
Yeah.
I fucking love them. I love DC. I've always said, been very clear on this. DC comics to me have always been better. The problem is, I'm one of the people that love DC comics and have historically hated every single DC movie that has ever come out, ever. There's like 2 exceptions. Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, was absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Truly.
The last fourth of that movie though was a little rough to the stomach though. To be fair,
I thought the ending was kind of dumb, but I appreciated it for what it was worth.
I appreciate you saying it was kind of dumb because that was my issue.
Yeah, I thought the ending was kind of dumb,
really stupid.
But okay. I also thought that like it's really hard to tell that story. Wonder Woman is already a weird character in comics. Yeah. And also, I don't know enough about Wonder Woman truly to like cherry pick problems with it. Yeah. So I just enjoyed it as a story. And the other DC movie that I really liked was the director's cut of Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
Not the theatrical release. Not the one most people saw. The director's cut of Dawn of Justice explained in great detail why and how everyone was where they were. And I accepted it as a movie. Like, as a movie, it made sense.
So you're talking about the Justice League, right?
No. Dawn of Justice. Batman v Superman.
Oh,
the
okay.
problem
I've never
with
seen
the
that
direct...
one.
Deck X2 sucked, and I hate how people say it's better than the first one. This is chat. I'm just saying that. I don't know that it's better than the first one, but like, you know how it's hard to tell if a negative number is larger? Like, is negative 500 larger than negative 487? Your initial thought is like 500 is a larger number than 487, but you're like, but it's reversed. X-Men 1 was a bad movie, but it was the best we got with the characters we had previously never seen. X-Men 1 is not better than the 97 cartoon. Period. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it isn't.
It's not really close. Yeah.
And 90% of that is how they fucked up Rogue, and the other 10% is how none of the characters knew how to act.
I was gonna say,
nobody could act in that.
The rest of the characters, yeah.
Yeah, nobody knew how to act.
They casted Halle Berry because she was hot.
They cast Famke Janssen because she was hot. The perfect cast for honestly, they did a perfect cast for Professor X. They failed Magneto. Like, I love Ian McKellen. He's a phenomenal actor. Terrible Magneto.
I thought he was fine in The Last Stand, but I also thought that he was terrible in X1.
Vinnie Jones
X2.
Was a great Juggernaut. I'm not going to say that. Vinnie Jones is a phenomenal Juggernaut.
Oh, Juggernaut? No, Juggernaut was great. I thought Sabretooth was pretty good. Toad was there. I mean, it was whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
Like I said before, one of my favorite movies is Big Trouble in Little China. And it's not a good movie, but it's my favorite. I'm not trying to take away from people who enjoy those movies. And I do appreciate the core idea of it being the first. Like, people have glasses, right? We can go back in time. We can see, like, go ahead right now and watch Spider-Man 2. Go ahead. And tell me that movie wasn't Alfred Molina carrying a terrible script and a terrible story.
I have said this multiple times. That movie does not age well. I've said it multiple times.
None of those movies did, but they were the first. And because they were the first, we loved them.
I still really like watching the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. I really enjoy watching that movie. I still enjoy watching the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. Those are like my two of my favorite Spider-Man movies.
Andrew nailed Peter Parker.
Period. Right?
Andrew nailed Peter.
Like, Andrew was really good. I will say this too. I don't think I've given Far From Home with Tom Holland enough credit. I have
Far From Home?
blasted that movie. Yeah, I've blasted that movie multiple times, and it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was. The ending didn't really give me much of a payoff because the whole Mysterio thing, and I thought it was kind of cheesy. Oh no, it's Mysterio was even set up Tom Holland and or Peter Parker this entire time. I was like, okay, it's kind of cheesy. I would have preferred if he had been a little bit more deceptive as a character, but I also understood that they felt like he was deceptive enough and they needed to write him off of the movie to not bring him back for future references. So I thought that was okay. But I do think that there were some things in Far From Home that I actually were good writing. Like there were some good development of Peter Parker, the character, that went well, that they kind of continued on in No Way Home. So I thought actually in general, like the best trilogy has been Tom Holland's trilogy because they showed a very good progression from the first movie to the second one to the third one, with him, of course, screwing everything up in the third movie, and then of course him kind of fixing things towards the very end. I thought was a good the sort of thing. It was all like what they said. Basically all three movies were an origin story for the
Captain
character.
America had the best trilogy.
See, I disagree. I think Tom Holland
Yeah, we can
technically
disagree.
to me had the best trilogy in my opinion.
Captain America, I believe, had the best trilogy
Captain America had the best
because,
movie out of all of them with Winter
well,
Soldier.
no, I think that the three Captain America movies really did justice to the character and explained, like, at one, he was star spangled, and
Mm-hmm.
like, and then two, his he learned the two was truly Captain America's empire, ESB, because he learned the hard way that the things that he
Yeah,
fought for were bad. And three was the culmination of the completion of his Jedi training, where he
yeah.
had known that we cannot trust people. I personally, I wasn't a Captain America fan, and now I am, and it was because of those three movies. I feel like Spider-Man was always, I don't want to say second fiddle, but preempted by another
Tony Stark,
character.
the Iron Man. Yeah,
Like the first one, it was clearly, first and second ones were clearly like Tony Stark related. And the third one, it was Doctor Strange. And I don't know if they did that because they didn't think it would carry, but like I was saying earlier, just like a second ago, Spider-Man does not make for a good movie. The character is a nuanced character that we've already established can't be happy.
yeah.
But it's like we got the first Spider-Man movie, Green Goblin was the bad guy, and then they killed him. And I'm like, yes, but the problem with that is that you killed Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there? And people are like, well, Venom is a bigger villain. No. There is no bigger villain to Peter Parker than the writers. And the second writer, the second biggest villain is Green Goblin. He is the biggest. And when you introduce the character, that's why I've loved Marvel's idea of like, we're not going to introduce the big bads immediately. We're going to introduce a big bad and then move along. That's why they didn't kill Loki immediately. And look what happened. Look at all the villains they allowed to live.
Except for Ultron, which is a travesty, but
We don't know he's dead.
that's fair. That's fair. My issue has always been, so if we're talking about best trilogy, right? the reason why I like Spider-Man's trilogy so much, and I do agree, the issue that I have with Captain America is that I don't think that the first movie was very good. And I think that only three quarters of Civil War was good. But if you're talking about character development, I do think that they've done a very good job of, you're right, Star Spangled Banner, Captain America, God's righteous man. And then all of a sudden he's like, no,
You're
there's
quoting Ultron. I just want you to know that.
no, I know, but I'm like, so he's realized now, no, the world isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray in this. And in order for me to be able to accomplish what I need to accomplish in life, to do the greater good for the masses of the community, I actually have to sprinkle in a little bit of gray.
What if
powers can't be trusted?
What if they want us to go somewhere we shouldn't go? What if what if we have to go somewhere and they don't let us?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the questions that Cap asked, and I'll give credit where credit's due. They did a phenomenal job of Iron Man. Iron Man 3 was a dog shit movie, but they did do a phenomenal job of setting up what these people would become and how they would become who they are. Yeah. Iron Man is full of regret. Every day of his life, he is full of some degree of regret. And it starts from the beginning. He regrets that what he did. He regrets his arrogance. And he kept regretting, and he keeps learning until we end up in Civil War. I've said many times, and I will still say this until the day I die, Captain America Civil War, the movie, was a better telling of the Civil War story potential, even though it wasn't even close to what happened.
Yeah.
It was a better telling than the Civil War comic, because Civil War
was a bloodbath.
Was Captain America saying, we're not giving up our rights, and Iron Man saying, well, we should though. And it was a good story because Peter was agreed with Iron Man, and then Aunt May got shot. And then he was like, oh, I get it. I'm an idiot. Because, again, Peter can't be happy. Captain America is America.
Yeah. No, so I don't disagree with your assessment. The reason why I think I like the Spider-Man trilogies, though, is because, yes, I'm a big fan of, sure, Captain America went through his God righteous man and then turned it into being, no, the world gotta have a little bit of gray. I thought Peter Parker went from, I am just this little kid that just got superpowers that is in the presence of Iron Man, right? And then now he is, no, like, I have to actually make good decisions, because if I don't make good decisions, the people around me can die. Like my aunt.
He made childlike mistakes.
Right.
And that is Peter Parker.
Yep.
Like, that is 16, 17, 18-year-old Peter Parker. And they did 16, 17, and 18-year-old Peter Parker.
Right.
And then there was a blip, which is its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they did that.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciated about his character, is that I got to see him grow up and then start number one, realizing the ramifications of the decisions, and then progress to being this, like, no, like, you know what? Like, actually, I need to be smarter about what I'm doing. Like, I can't just give my glasses away to some random jamoke that I just met, because that could have implications on not just me, but other people that are involved, like MJ. I almost said Mary Jane, but it's not Mary Jane. But MJ, and Ned, and decisions of that, and of course, like, screwing it up by going to Doctor Strange in the first place. But then just going through that arc, I just felt like it was really good development of a younger character. But I also thought, like, just like CGI animations, things like that, were a little bit better, as well as the character development. So personally, I liked Tom Holland's trilogy a little bit better than Cap's, but obviously Cap's trilogy had more MCU implications than Peter Parker's.
So I'm still going to stand by what I said the first time the movie came out. Mm-hmm. I think Zendaya is phenomenal, and I think they fucked her royally by casting her as an MJ surrogate.
Yeah.
And I think if she was just a random character and not MJ, I would have been.
I'm looking
fine.
at all the comments right now of like things that Peter Parker said. Number one,
it's amazing. You're all right.
Arm.
You're all right.
Did you watch that radio movie Aliens?
I don't care. Again, I don't care that they cast a not white woman to play Mary Jane Watson. I care that she wasn't Mary Jane Watson. I care that Kirsten Dunst wasn't Mary Jane Watson. I care that MJ wasn't Mary Jane Watson. I kind of care that Emma Stone wasn't Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy wasn't brilliant.
Yep.
That doesn't mean she wasn't, like, she was a dum-dum. Gwen Stacy wasn't brilliant. Gwen Stacy was awesome.
Yeah.
I think I could have tolerated
grounded Peter
Zendaya
Parker
as Gwen Stacy. I think I could have grounded, and it also would have made the catch that if she was Gwen the entire time, it would have made the catch that Andrew Garfield made so much better.
So if Zendaya was already Gwen Stacy, and
if Zendaya played Gwen Stacy,
Gwen Stacy in this world, having Gwen Stacy, okay, I get what you're saying.
If Zendaya was Gwen Stacy, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
You're right, though. To be fair, because he should right now be going into his Mary Jane arc, in a sense.
Peter Parker's one true love was, and will always be Gwen Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he failed her was, and will always be his biggest regret.
Yep.
Always. Always, always.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Jane they were always in each other's sphere.
Yep.
But Mary Jane was always a goddess that Peter never even gave a second thought to, because why would a goddess talk to me? Gwen and Peter loved each other.
Oh, like that was his boo thing. That was his first love. That was Gonzo.
And it was
MJ.
mutual.
MJ is who he settled for after he lost
Settled
Gwen
is a hard way of saying it. You're not wrong, but
you get what I'm saying, though.
MJ was.
It was the thank you next, but not really. It was MJ. I lost the love of my life.
He needed to lose Gwen Stacy to be able to imagine a world where he could be with Gwen, with MJ.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's a good example. Let's say hypothetically that Gwen loved Peter, MJ loved Peter.
That's a big one. I'll say it out loud.
Maybe not true, but I'm not. It's close. That's close, Jay.
It's pretty close.
That's close.
I'll read it out loud. Gwen
MJ loved Spider-Man.
MJ loved Peter as Spider-Man.
True. Oh man, Jay, that's so. You know what's funny is I never thought of it that way, and you're 100% right.
Wow, Gwen loved Peter and MJ
Black Cat loves Peter.
As Spider-Man.
No, Black Cat loves Peter.
Oh, yeah,
Felicia loves Peter. Black Cat loves Spider-Man. They both love Peter doesn't love Felicia. No, Peter has a penis, which makes him have to love Felicia. Like, these are not the same. Also, Peter never loved, like, Cindy Moon. It was literally pheromones that made them attracted to each other, but they don't particularly have anything in common. That's rough. That's a hard thing to say. I'm going to tolerate for the rest of my life knowing that. But
Gwen loved Peter, MJ loves Peter as Spider-Man. Oh.
MJ was Peter's, I don't even want to say rebound. Like, that's so shitty because MJ's a great character. Like, I don't want to take anything away from her. But MJ and Peter are not star-crossed lovers. In all of... Right now, if you can ever have a chance to read any Spider-Gwen story, read them. They're either awesome or hilarious, and they're fun.
Yeah. Pretty fun stories to read. Yeah.
Spider-Gwen's reality, the one from the Miles movies, is pretty close to reality. And again, we are talking about kitty love.
Come on now. Matt Murdock
we are talking about kitty love though, right? Like, we are talking about, like, puppy love. Like, these are kids. But Gwen didn't die when Peter was in high school. Gwen died when Peter was in college, and they had found each other in high school, and they were going to make it.
Yep.
Gwen was the loss. Peter's life is full of loss.
Mm-hmm.
He lost Uncle Ben because of his inaction. He lost, he didn't lose Aunt May, but he damn near lost MA because of his poor decision making. And he lost Gwen because he didn't know better.
Yep. Hesitation.
He's never lost MJ. He traded MJ. And that has to be, even though it's arguably one of the shittiest story. Do you think Gwen would have accepted Peter as Spider-Man as the start of her death? As I recall, she didn't know he was Spider-Man at the time.
She didn't know? I don't remember. Did she not know?
She knew at the time of her death. She didn't know leading up to it.
Okay.
She knew because Goblin told her.
Okay.
Also, if you ever read Axe Judgment, which you don't have to, it wasn't great, you'll find that the person who judged Norman Osborn, the way Axe Judgment worked is you were presented with a person who represents your biggest failure, and that how you reacted to that person was your judgment.
Go.
She showed up to Peter as the most important person whose approval he was looking for, and he passed because he said, I can never bring you back, but all I can do every day is fight and try to make up for it. And that passed him. He is a worthy human.
Yeah.
She also showed up and his reward for it, truly heartbreaking. Again, Spider-Man cannot be happy. He got to speak to MJ as she was the second she died for 1 minute. Well, she's broken heart all over the place. She showed up to Norman Osborn. Gwen Stacy was Norman Osborn's biggest regret.
Oh.
Killing Gwen Stacy was his biggest regret because he wasn't going to kill Gwen Stacy. His job was to kill Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't really necessarily care that Gwen Stacy died. He just cared that it wasn't Spider-Man that died.
Well, he didn't want her to die. There's some story.
Okay.
There's some storyline where there was some stuff, but that's been retconned because it was very stupid and some shitty writer wrote it about them having an affair, but that's stupid.
That retcon was hilarious because people were You're talking about the one where he had like what, two kids with Gwen Stacy? That one?
Yeah, that was
one?
awful,
Yeah.
and we don't talk about that. Yeah, I remember reading
We
that
don't
and being
talk
like,
about
nope.
Bruno.
Like I just
no.
Yeah. I was just like, nope, we're done. We're done here. This is stupid and you're dumb. Also, we're gonna ignore the fact that at the time that this conversation was taking place, Gwen was like 16 and Norman was like a solid 40. Nope. Not only was it not canon, it didn't happen. We're not gonna discuss it.
Yo, people were.
I don't think you mentioned this. Felicia loves Spider-Man, not Peter. No. Felicia loves Peter because she doesn't see Spider-Man and Peter as two separate people. She didn't know he was Peter until way later, and she is Felicia Hardy. If I had to pick, yeah, good. If I had to pick, excuse me, pick who Spider-Man was, like I said, Cyclops' best partner is Emma. Period. End of discussion. If I had to pick who Peter's was, it's Black Cat. Peter and Black Cat have it's kind of the same, like, there are people who think that Batman and Catwoman are like star-crossed lovers. And then there are people who are correct and recognizing that the only woman for Bruce Wayne was, and always will be Talia al Ghul. Because Talia al Ghul is incredibly fucking awesome in every conceivable way. And honestly, to be fair, the only woman worthy of Batman. He's Bruce Wayne. He's still a billionaire. He still gets whatever he wants. But it's not the same. I like Catwoman as a character. I like their cat and mouse game. But that's not, there's a reason Talia and Batman matter. And it's because Talia is Batman's equal. And there's very few people that are Batman's equal. It's kind of the same with Black Cat and Peter. Black Cat is not an asshole, right? She is a criminal due to circumstance. And then eventually she's a criminal due to fun. But she's been towing the line for a long time. Sorry, one of my favorite moments was Venom showing up at Peter's house. Hey, Aunt May, is Peter home? Tell him I stopped by. Spider-Man flips out and Venom goes, I could kill everyone you love, but I wanted to let you know I only want to kill you. Yeah, like, it's a huge difference. And again, like, that's an old Venom. That's 90s Venom. 2000s Venom has understood that the thing that holding on to the hatred was not, remember, like, Peter tricked him into thinking he killed him, and then he lived a happy, blissful life on a deserted island. You know what I mean? Like, and then he found out Peter was alive, and then he was like, dude, Eddie, weren't you happy when you just let go of all of it? And Eddie was like, actually, yeah. And he, like, yeah, I was. And then he's like, symbiote, aren't you just happier being with Venom than you were with me? With Eddie? He's like, you know what, Pete? You're right. I'm still gonna eat brains. But, I'm in a better place now we're both in a better place now than either of us were. So we're good with it. You can't be with who you love the one you're with. Yeah, like, I don't know how to kind of like justify it or how other people justify it, but like, I thought that the Spider-Man movies were good tellings of I thought Tom Holland was great as a young Peter Parker. I thought he was great as Spider-Man, especially young Spider-Man. Jury's out. I'm going to let you take over on this thought as I leave you with it. Jury's out on whether or not he can be an adult Spider-Man. That's my concern.
So I think Tom Holland has the versatility to be an adult Spider-Man. I just think it may be a little bit challenging for the audience to transition over into allowing him to be that, right? And I think it all depends on what storyline do they want to go with, because at some point in time he's supposed to be, at least based on the rumors, he's supposed to be stepping into Black Suit Spider-Man. Now, Black Suit Spider-Man didn't really work out as well in the PlayStation game, but that's a separate conversation for a different time. But on the big screen, I think that Tom has the versatility to be able to pull that off as a actor. I think that it could be something that could be done. But they have spent so much time with this younger version of Peter Parker, whether or not they can translate that over now into be it. Here's my thing. Can Sony get out of the way?
No.
That's the question. Because I
don't even know.
No. Tom has the ability to do it. I think the MCU has the ability to write it. But does Sony, will Sony be like, all right, I'm going to just let this go and let you guys do your thing because you guys are better at it than we are? Or are they going to be like, you know what? No, we have a story that we want to tell with our Craven and whoever else that we want to bring into the Sonyverse. And because you're doing this, you can't do that because of X. Well, can they get out of their own damn way? Is the question. And as Tony said, the answer probably is no.
I'm going to, again, repeat something I keep harping on because it's true. Sony's not good at the whole movie thing.
They're not.
Marvel Studios was born of a Marvel fan and Marvel Comics using their own money to put together a movie with the few things they had. And their option was tell a good story or die. Iron Man was not a character that was going to pull numbers. Thor was not a character that was going to pull numbers. Captain America, maybe, but probably not. And all of this, please understand, all of this led to something that, without a shadow of a doubt, has truly changed the MCU, and it's the Daredevil Netflix show.
Mm-hmm.
The Daredevil Netflix show was the best telling of a story because Daredevil and most of the MCU, this is why I hate what they've done with the TV shows. Most of the Marvel characters, and this is going to blow your mind when I say it, are better told in episodic elements.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, X-Men, Captain America. Almost all of them are better told in episodes. You know why I know that? Because that's how comics are fucking sold.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they have consistently failed at TV shows, and I do mean 50-50. Like, for every good one, there's a bad one. And it might even be a little bit worse. For even if we go to episode, for every good episode, there's a bad episode.
Mm-hmm. And
sometimes you take the good with the bad, and it's like, whatever. Like, WandaVision was fine. It was great storytelling. It processed grief in a really interesting way. Didn't lead to anything, so retroactively it became bad. But it was. Loki season 1 and 2, great. But if it doesn't lead to anything, it's retroactively kind of bad.
Right.
Captain America Winter Soldier, bad. Jessica Jones season 1 was great. Jessica Jones season 2 was awful. And Jessica Jones, did it even have season 3, or am I just making that up in my head?
I think so. It did have a season. There was a season 3, right? I just don't really.
Which is the one where like she was with her mom, which was just awful.
I believe that was season 3.
David Tennant was the best part. Well, Jessica Jones season 1 really did approach a subject that was really hard to animate. which is
Season 3 was versus Hellcat.
Purple Man. Purple Man being a true evil. Like, there's bad and there's evil. You know what I mean? Like, Obadiah Stane was a bad guy. He wasn't evil. He was a bad guy.
I don't remember season 3. I watched it.
I do
it.
not remember season 3 at all. At all.
I know I watched it. I definitely watched it because I remember seeing the last episode, and saying, "This is it." Oh, so she's not leaving. Okay.
A good bad guy. Bastion is a phenomenal villain. Bastion is not a villain. Bastion believes he's saving humanity. Because he was raised by humans. And he has these horrible nightmares of a reality. But he also has these wonderful dreams. Bastion is a proper villain. Because he does not... he's not doing evil for evil's sake.
Mm-hmm.
He had some chilling comments when he was like, I don't think of it as genocide. I think of it as mass extinction or time management. I was like,
okay.
What?
Yep.
Kang is a proper villain.
He's evil.
Because Kang is like, it doesn't matter how many people I kill. Because everyone will die if I don't. So I'll save some people, so others. And it's that calculus problem. Like, would you kill one person to save 1 million lives? Yeah. Okay, what about 999,000 to save 1 million? Well, like, morality is there has to be a better way. That's the moral issue is heroes find the better way even though it's harder. Villains don't. That's why Punisher's an anti-hero. There is no better way to stop organized crime.
Sorry, I just wanted to read this comment. Season 3 was Patty getting powers and wanted to be a vigilante and kills the guy
she took the pills.
Her mom. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she took the pills that oh god, what was his name? The Captain America, you know, the red, white, and blue pill guy.
Eobard Thawne in the CW Flash. By the way, that guy, amazing actor. Oh my goodness.
Dude, there were 4 people that played that character of Eobard Thawne, and all of them were great.
Yeah.
Kang is the trolley problem come to life. Yeah, absolutely. Nuke, that was his name. Garbage character. But it was fun to see that character. And then you take the red pill to go up, you take the white pill to keep it going, and you take the blue pill to come down. That was such a... Like, I get it. And you know what? I'll give them credit where credit's due. They told a story. Mm-hmm. It's just the story didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean... Netflix.
I chose this picture because it has Zemo, but it also has Bastion, who is truly and honestly just menacing. This dude is never, at no point in time have I ever seen Bastion flustered. He's been like, all right, we'll just deal with this now. I'm like, that's scary. That's terrifying. Wolverine and Nightcrawler, when they were murdering the shit out of those monsters, he was like, oh, I'm doing my best, bub. You know, he was like trying. He was like, and Bastion's just like, all right, send some more. Fuck him.
Right.
The Flash was, I don't know how many seasons that the Flash were, but the last one was terrible because at some point they were like,
was that season 8?
I don't know. Because the last season of The Flash, they were like, you know what everyone wants to see more of? This random bitch. Whatever the actress
last season.
who played the DA, who then got married to Joe and had their kid. That's what we need more of. We need more of this random bitch. And I was like, no, we need more of the Flash. The Flash. No.
So what you're saying is that you wanted the show to represent what the name of the show was.
Arrow was a phenomenal show. I think Arrow
was good for a few seasons, and then it just fell off after that.
I think
that was more because of the actor. I think the actor lost interest or had some issues or wow.
The problem with the will they, won't they is the only thing you can do after they will is make them won't. And after you make them won't, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
See Friends for more information.
The CW
Constantine was great. Also, Lucifer was just until so Lucifer was great, and then Netflix picked it up, saved it, gave us a season of Lucifer, and it was a phenomenal season. And then the last season of Lucifer was so garbage. It was so bad in all conceivable ways. Well, Netflix did 2 seasons under Lucifer. The first one they did was Ace's phenomenal and could have been a good ending. And then the last season might as well have just done like a 1-hour movie to end it and not done it, because they were just like, here's your daughter from the future who's also trying to kill you. Why? Spoilers, because you shouldn't watch it. Because your mom used to say that you left and you abandoned us, and I'm gonna kill you, so you can't abandon us.
Us? Yeah.
Well, he didn't abandon you. He went to hell to make sure that hell didn't overrun the earth, which is the opposite of abandoning you.
Minuscule.
And also, your mom was rich because Lucifer was rich. And also, this is dumb and you're dumb and everything is done. Sounds about Dexter on Showtime. So here's what I talk about Dexter on Showtime. Real quick, Teak. Dexter was a great show, and it had the worst ending, the worst finale of any show ever. It was a worse finale than Game of Thrones finale, but that's because Game of Thrones last season was terrible, so counting the finale doesn't matter. It was the worst finale of any show ever. And then they brought Dexter back for New Blood, I think it was called, and that show was very good and somehow doubled down and made an even worse finale than the original Dexter finale.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do it.
Yeah.
Including endings.
If you don't
had the most worst ending, no, that was bad. That was bad.
And the reason why was pure laziness. The reason why the ending of How I Met Your Mother was terrible is because they had already filmed the ending with the child actors who were playing those roles. And they're like, well, we can't refilm it. They'll be older now. And I was like, you absolutely can. They wrote a story where, first of all, I don't know how you guys stand, right? I don't know how you guys stand with this. But if my best friend starts fucking my ex-girlfriend, I don't know how cool I'm gonna be with that.
Right.
But even if I am cool with that, and they get married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, if I give them my blessing, you know what? We're done. I'm not interested. Do you know what I'm never doing? Getting back with her after they get divorced.
Right.
So many TV shows just suck. X-Men 97 doesn't.
They don't know. Well, the thing about it is that they don't know how to write good last seasons and last episodes. It's atrocious across the board.
How many
last seasons and last episodes have been awful. You mentioned Game of Thrones. There's been How I Met Your Mother. I used to watch Power. Man, that last season and that last episode was awful.
A lot of so there's okay, so like there are original shows where the showrunner, like look at Supernatural. That's a great example because we brought it up. Supernatural was like the directors and the guys in charge of Supernatural will always be very clear on this. We never knew how if we were getting another season, so we always told the story at a end with a cliffhanger. So if we got a season and a renewal, we would be able to pick up.
Yeah.
And if we didn't, you can kind of figure out what's there. Yeah. But the WB was always like, it was crazy. They'll be like, they greenlit us on season 1, and then at the end of season 1, they gave us 2 more seasons. And then a month after we finished shooting, they gave us another season. And then after that, they gave us 3 seasons. And then they gave us 1 season. And then they gave us 5 seasons. And then, like, it was insane.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Which is why Netflix was so great, because Netflix used to save shows.
Yeah.
And Amazon did too. Amazon saved the show I love because Jeff Bezos loved it. The Expanse.
Okay.
Buffy had a decent ending. Oh,
I never watched the ending of that, so I can't.
Angel had a decent ending. Buffy had a rough ending. Smallville had a good ending. Smallville did have a good ending, but there was you're right. There was the little wibbly wobblies in the middle, like the whole 33.1 never paying off.
You mean like an entire season? Just like, what the hell was this?
Teak has the quote of the night, by the way. Most shows start like Infinity War and end like Morbius. Breaking Bad had a perfect ending. And if you, like, Better Call Saul had a perfect ending. Sons of Anarchy had a perfect ending. Because the endings of those shows were never going to change. And as they got more seasons, they only had to fill in blanks. And they were wonderful. I never finished Justified.
I'm still on TKE's comment, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Morbius. You know what's funny? Morbius is a better movie than Madam Web.
It is funny because that movie is dog crap, but it is better than Madam Web. You are correct.
My roommate always been clear on this. Morbius is the best movie ever released because it is a gift that will always give. Because it will always be as terrible as you need it to be.
It's perfect, man. Honestly, that movie is perfect. I've never watched it again. Because everything, I watched the movie and it wasn't good. But yet I still remembered pretty much basically everything for that movie. And that could go both ways. Either whenever a movie is really good, and I'm just like, I really enjoy that movie. But I don't necessarily remember exactly what happened in that movie. That's actually a good thing. When a movie is bad, and I'm like, I remember every reason as to why this movie was bad, that's not good. And Madam Web was that movie for me, where I remembered almost everything that happened in that movie, because it was simply so bad or it was genuinely stupid. Number 1, she's a paramedic that hates helping people. Number 2, Ezekiel Sims somehow remembers all the faces of every individual that he's seen in his dreams. And this technology from whatever time frame that they're in, which is not as advanced, can immediately recognize who these girls are, although it's only been in his head. Thirdly, let's leave all of these girls who are wanted and being chased by this man. Let's leave all of them in the woods by themselves.
Well, I
will be back for you.
The Amazon.
Like, also, let's travel to Peru. Let's travel to Peru when I am wanted in the year after 9/11.
I'm not gonna lie, Madam Web is also a gift that keeps on giving. Okay, so little backstory about me that you guys don't know.
With no one spotted her whatsoever, although she's on the wanted list.
Yeah,
stupid.
She definitely flew Spirit. I live in a house with two people. One of them works for a major grocery store chain. One of them works for a major healthcare company. We share a house because it's easier for all of us to live. And one day I came home, and one of the people who live with me decided, because his sister is dating a manager of a movie theater, he had asked his sister for a favor from her boyfriend. And that favor was plastered all over our house. There are no less than 100 Morbius posters all over my house. This is the one I took off the fridge. There's one under my feet. I just can't reach it because of all the stuff that's under it, that's on top of it. Like, I have random stuff. We have so many Morbius posters in my house. When I say he's obsessed with how bad this movie is, you have no idea. And I have seen Morbius. There was a point in time. So I used to do this thing.
I need to know how many times you watch it.
So I used to do this thing where we had a rule in the house. And the rule was, is this Tim? Tim does not live with me now. But Tim knows exactly who I'm talking about. If you touched any of my Blu-ray copies of Captain America Winter Soldier, we had to watch it. And I would hide them around the house. So I would get a knock on my door. It's happened on stream. Boy. I'd get a knock on door and they'd be like, hey man, I found Captain America. And I'm like, all right, gotta end the stream, guys. And we would just sit in the living room. There was a period of time, the TV in the main living room that we never use, because why the hell would we ever do that? But it exists in case, company or football or wrestling or something. It had Morbius on loop 24/7 for like a good month and a half.
Oh boy.
And we you just couldn't. How many times have I seen Morbius? I don't know, because the number, it doesn't matter. I do know everything about that movie. I know every line in that movie.
Oh boy, no.
Watching Sony movies is like watching 90s Power Rangers as an adult. Correct. You know what you should do as an adult is read Power Ranger comic books, because they are awesome stories featuring the only Power Rangers you give a shit about.
Go Power Rangers. Sorry, just in case you guys wanted to follow up on that.
Now's as good time as any to talk about Captain America's toys.
I mean, why the hell not? So this was funny to me for a few different reasons. Number one, it is clear that they had well, number one, the movie was supposed to launch today, right? Like, that was supposed to be the case. The movie was supposed to go live today. And unfortunately, because of change timelines
because of dog shit writers and directors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They weren't able to get things out at this point in time. So, what pretty much McDonald's said is, listen, we're not changing our schedule. Like, screw you, F you, we're not doing it. Like, whatever. Like, you have to figure it out. So that's ultimately what they're kind of doing at this point. With that being said, it looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, what do you think about it?
So I'm trying to find the picture because we had it. There it is.
Yeah, we did.
Really? Twitter? I mean, this is close enough. So it's got, and this is in Portuguese. Falcon. Ruth. This chick's name is just Ruth. Ruth.
Okay.
There's a Ruth in this movie. Captain America, I don't know what voando is in Portuguese. I think it's wings, but I'm not 100% sure. And then Captain America.
Is that a Black Widow?
No, this is Diamondback.
Diamondback. So they are doing that. Okay.
And then Red Hulk, and then Shield, and then Red Wing, which you can't really see because of the plus sign, but
yeah.
So these are the toys that McDonald's has been marketed for. So, slight spoilers, right? Red Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really a spoiler. If you didn't think Red Hulk was coming in this movie, notes for Captain America.
Where's Diamondback? Is that from like the Secret Empire comic?
Diamondback is two things. She is a member of the Serpent Society and a love interest of Falcon when he took over as Captain America.
Okay.
I don't know who Ruth is, though. I don't know who... It just says Ruth in quotes. That's amazing. Like, Falcon in quotes makes sense. Captain America in quotes makes sense. Red Hulk in quotes makes sense. Diamondback makes it. Ruth. Who the fuck is Ruth?
Who's Ruth, bro? I guess
no one's talking about Ruth.
Yeah, so
it even says here, Captain America, a new Falcon, Diamondback, Ruth, question mark.
I'm sorry, the way they put those question marks is telling.
And Red Hulk. Yeah, and we were talking before the stream about how there's only 3 companies, right, that can tell Disney to go fuck itself. So you know Disney's like, hey, we're gonna push back this movie. McDonald's, being one of those 3 companies, was like, sure, we're still gonna release the toys then. Like, well, that doesn't work for us. And we're like, we don't give a shit. We're McDonald's.
Bro. I mean, also, to be fair, the amount of time it takes to make those toys, it takes time. So, like, hey, just because you decided to push back your movie doesn't mean that we're not going to release it now and try to get our sales. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, like, we don't care. That's not your problem. The other 2 companies that will tell Disney to go fuck itself are Walmart. If Disney was ever like, Walmart, this is what you're doing, Walmart would be like, sir, I don't know if you guys know this, Coca-Cola works for us, so go away. And third is like Amazon. If Disney told Amazon to do something, they'd be like, we're going to do the opposite because go to hell. Ruth might be this. Ruth is one of Abomination's pen pals from Damage Control's Supermax prison in the pen pal program.
Stop. Wow. Okay.
That looks like the new Falcon, the Josiah Falcon. And then we have the new Captain America outfit. Which again, Screen Rant has a pretty decent... Screen Rant does pretty decent coverage.
Yeah, they do.
Here's Captain America's Winter Soldier suit. And Here's Cap Sam's new suit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, does this matter to people? Like, really, or is this just like we'll take anything?
I mean, it looks cool, but it's not really it's not really like, oh my gosh, I am about to lose my mind. No, it's more of like, okay, cool. It's nice to see it. I don't know how much people know necessarily about the Sam Wilson Captain America though.
Well, anyone who saw the movie knows that he's going to be the new Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And Endgame was seen by everybody.
Right.
So I don't know. The action in this movie is incredibly exciting because this is a guy who can break, who can bleed.
Oh boy.
Sorry, I'm just reading the comments on Reddit. I'd love to see Norman Osborn as the Iron Patriot debut in this movie. Sony says nah, but if you make Madam Web and Morbius canon to the MCU, we could talk about it.
I feel like that's not necessarily our call, but okay.
I'll just go so far as to say, if it was my call, I still wouldn't make those movies canon.
Oh boy.
The only way I would make those movies canon is if you allowed me, specifically me, to release a director's cut of both of them where you couldn't turn it off and it was just my commentary over those movies. So you'd watch Morbius and I would just be like Mystery Science Theater 3000ing how terrible this shit is. just how awful it all is. And then Madam Web, I would just be replacing all of their dialogue with like, nope, this isn't happening. This is all a dream. Nobody cares. You're not a real person. That's not Ben Parker. It's not his sister Mary. They're not married. She's not having a baby. She can't see the future. None of it's connected. Just shitting on everything.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see that there are 4 movies set for next year. So this year's only 1 movie, which is Deadpool. But next year is
gonna get moved though.
Why is Captain America Brave New World on February 14th?
I don't know. So it's supposed to be what? Captain America, then it's supposed to be Thunderbolts, and then it's supposed to be Fantastic Four?
And May 2nd is Thunderbolts. July 25th is Fantastic Four, and November 7th is Blade.
I think Blade's gonna get moved to 2026.
Well, Kang Dynasty is currently set. Well, that movie, The Avengers 5, is set for 2026. No, I wouldn't allow any Sony movie to even like since the Tom Holland, since the deal. I wouldn't allow any of their movies, including Kraven, which I haven't seen and I'm still confident will suck. I won't allow any of their movies to even be touched by the sacred timeline, by pruning.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the most important quote regarding Madam Web is that Dakota Johnson fired her managers because they didn't tell her it wasn't. They said it was a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But they didn't clarify that it was a Sony Marvel movie. Even the latest X-Men? The latest X-Men is not Sony. None of the X-Men were ever Sony.
X-Men was either Fox or now MCU.
X-Men was always Fox. Yeah. I'm cool with them. I'm cool with what I said I want the Deadpool movie to be, which is Deadpool kills the Fox universe, which we know is going to happen because we already see a 20th Century Fox logo in The Void.
Yeah.
And you know, other stuff.
I mean, they're bringing over so many things from that Fox universe, but there's so much more that they haven't showed us that we're gonna see later on.
Oh yeah, like we haven't seen Elektra.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen so much, right? And like this movie, I've said it before, and I kind of stand by it. This movie can't fail. I don't think it needs to be the biggest thing that's ever happened, but it can't afford to fail.
I feel like it's gonna end up getting a $1 billion box office anyways because of just.
It's so hard for an R-rated movie to be $1 billion movie. I'm gonna look it up. I don't believe there are many. Hold on. R-rated $1 billion movies.
We think the Desert Island is Battle World
Joker
or something.
Joker is the only one. Joker is the only $1 billion movie.
Wow.
Oppenheimer came close. Deadpool 1 and 2. Again, Deadpool 1 was like $85 million to make and made $700 million. Deadpool 2 was like $180 million and made the same price. Matrix Reloaded, It, 700. Detective Chinatown 3.
Logan?
What the shit? Logan made $600 million. Passion of the Christ in 2004, so we can adjust for inflation, but Hangover Part 2, 50 Shades of Grey, Ted. $1 billion movies aren't R-rated. It's really hard to make it because, you know, theaters do track that shit.
Yeah.
Theaters do track that shit, you know? Like, you can't, if you're like a high school kid, you can't inherently get into a rated R movie. So, Joker making $1 billion worldwide is fascinating. But again, we don't know what the budget of Deadpool 3 is. If Deadpool 3,
we'll find out probably next month or so, right?
Well, like any teenagers can go to the movie theater and go see Endgame, a PG-13 movie. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's so hard. John Wick Chapter 4 only made $440 million.
I mean,
you know,
was that really? Oh, John Wick. I thought you said Matrix.
No, and that's Chapter 4. And that was the highest grossing of all the John Wick films.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. So it's just they don't make a lot of money in the box office. They just don't, which is why studios are terrified to make an R-rated movie, which is why Sony refused to make an R-rated Venom movie and an R-rated Madam Web movie, and now they're going to do an R-rated they didn't do an R-rated Morbius. Now they're going to do an R-rated Craven movie, and that's not going to make money because nobody cares. So, well, yeah, but like again, it's all about box office because that's how they track the success of whether or not they're going to make a movie. If the movie is successful on DVD and streaming, it's cheaper completely for a company to just release it to streaming. Like, they don't have distribution, they don't have to pay the studio fees, they don't have to pay the licensing fees, they don't have to pay the theater fees. Like, if it's cheaper for them to do it, like Logan was only 600 million. I get it with my Disney subscription already. Well, you pay a Disney subscription. You know, like, so Deadpool, if I don't expect Deadpool to make $1 billion, but man, if it does, you know what I mean? Highest grossing R-rated and TV animated films. Demon Slayers animated was number 1. And Sausage Party is number 2 at 140 million. South Park made 83 million. Like, highest grossing R-rated films by year. If we reverse this, The Beekeeper was 152 million. The Oppenheimer just under $1 billion. So, like, Oppenheimer was almost $1 billion on $100 million pace budget, plus a little bit here or there. Bullet Train, 239 and a $90 million budget. Joker, $55 million billion. Deadpool 2, 110, 700. It, 35 million, 700. Deadpool 1, 58 million, 700. 50 Shades of Grey, 40 million. Like, these are the movies that, like, they're profitable. But $1 billion is a lot to ask. Ted, 50 million. Like, Matrix Reloaded, 150 million, and then 740 million box office. Gladiator was 103 million in 2000 money, and it only made 460 million. And people, like, still to this day praise 8 Mile. Took 41 million and made 242. Like, R-rated movies generally do make their money back, but that's because R-rated movies are cheap, because in order to get an R-rated movie, you just need violence and titties. It's like the 2 steps of an R-rated movie. Some of the funny ones, though. Is that negative? No. The Exorcist, $11 million. 440 million. Blazing Saddles, 2 million. 45 million. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. $400,000 to make. 60 million box office. Timeline of the highest grossing. Yeah. First Paranormal Activity. Yeah. That movie cost $15. The top highest grossing R-rated film series. Conjuring Universe, 9 films, made $2 billion. X-Men, which is just the 2 Deadpool movies and Logan, is number 2 on this list, with $2 billion made. And all of it is like Deadpool. The Matrix made over 2 billion, made about 2 billion. The Hangover movie sucked. Alien, I can't even begin to wonder how the Alien movies made money. Saw, there are 10 Saw movies. I don't know how much the Saw movies cost, but it's probably $10. Batman is here, but it's just Joker at 1 billion and The Killing Joke animated at $4 million. That's not, yeah, someone's fucking around with these numbers. Bad Boys. Crazy. So it's really hard to get rated R movies to work. Did Salco inspire? I don't know. Maybe. Isn't that from the Book of Saw? I don't know, Goofy. I
don't know.
I don't. The thing is, I know the movie can't be bad, and profitability is no. I'm starting to think less that it's going to be bad, and now I'm concerned with budget. I'm concerned that the movie will be critically well received, but it'll do the same as other movies we've seen where, like, the budget for... Do we even have a number on the budget?
I don't think we've seen anything reported. All right, let me see.
Let's see.
Oh, not seen anything.
Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool cost studio less money than 3 episodes of MCU's worst TV show from last year. Our beloved Deadpool is definitely healthier for producers' pockets as compared to the Skrulls.
Oh, boy.
Oh, so the original Deadpool movie cost less to make than 3 episodes of Secret Invasion. That's not telling us anything. We'll find out soon.
I would suspect
what the
that
budget
probably
is
next month. Yeah, next month we'll probably find out.
Deadpool 3 reportedly have a budget of $250 million minus the advertising and print costs. So that's worded weirdly. Am I to believe minus means before the advertising and print costs? Yeah, that's right? Like 250 million minus the advertising and print costs. So they're not including that. See, that's a problem because we did the math last week, and just to keep it out there, 250 million times 1.6 it times 2.5. Yeah, it's about $1 billion. This movie needs to be $1 billion movie. And that's gonna be rough. Again, these movies don't have to be 250 million. Like, they don't have to be that expensive.
Is that just to break even or to make a profit?
To be considered successful. They'll break even at about 400 million. And they're going to do probably better than 400 million. But like the studio market, we talked about this last week, the studio market for success is 2.5 times what the cost was. Mm-hmm. So if it makes $1 billion, like, you don't spend $250 million to make 500 million.
Yeah.
Because that, you could have saved 50 million and probably made 500 million. You spend more to make more. Except for TV shows where apparently they spend more and then lose subscribers, but that's its own thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, Goofy, we managed to go 27 minutes over 3 hours today.
Our original 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah, which is fun because we started our conversation today with like, do we think we can carry it with just X-Men?
Yeah. And we did-ish. not entirely, but we did-ish.
All I know is it's almost 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that means...
All right, guys. Listen, it's been real. But I think it's been real enough. So I won't sign off. I'll let Tony sign off and go from there.
Go home, all of you. Be with your loved ones. Watch Morbius. Good night, everybody.